Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Ma'am. I'm your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on Twitter at MMMShow75. And let's say hello to our good friend at Lucha Gringo, the Professor. Casey, what's going on, brother?
What's up? There's like nothing to talk about this week. What's up with people?
It has been an incredibly slow week in the world of combat sports and professional wrestling and MMA. What, Byron? Hi.
I forgot my mic was muted. I was trying to burp over Casey. Byron Fever.
You were supposed to not notice that your mic was muted.
Hey.
Speaking of muting microphones, you guys might not see this or not, but like I went to start the show up this morning and yes, we're doing this broadcast in the morning, so forgive us if we're not drunk or delirious or tired because we don't normally go quite this early. LaCroix. You know what they call that in Kansas City where I've been doing my show? They call that LA crotch.
Sounds about right.
But they drink the hell out of it nonetheless. But yeah, I like that they call it LA crotch. Yeah, it's been a really incredibly slow, terrible, awful week of no news or information, nothing interesting going on backstage anywhere. I don't know what we're going to find to fill this 15-minute podcast with this today, guys.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Shout out to Josh Pillow. You're going to fucking love this episode, bro.
He got some TV time this week, by the way. I was happy to see Josh.
I saw that too on the TV.
And I can't remember if we congratulated him on his wedding or not. So congratulations if you're even listening. You know, people are going to PWG this weekend.
Josh
they might actually listen. Yeah.
He wasn't?
What?
No, he got married like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You guys, I know. I'm just seeing if you knew it.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations from all of us. Belated. Sorry these guys took so long to congratulate you, Josh.
Dude, I told him already. I just didn't tell him on the show. It's like I'm doing this so other people congratulate him.
Yeah, me too, obviously.
Look, before we get too deep into something, I realized the other day how sweet Masked Republic is. And this isn't a plug so much as kudos to those guys, because I realized the other day, like with no major promotion affiliation, that Masked Republic is probably doing more for luchadors single-handedly than almost anybody out there right now, which is just kind of cool. So if you guys don't know about Masked Republic, get into it. They're really taking care of a lot of luchadors. And Kevin Kleinrock doesn't even speak Spanish, does he?
He said he didn't on the Conan podcast, and his Spanish is way fucking better than mine.
I was gonna say, like, he's doing better than I am, and to primarily be running a business that is pertaining to lucha libre and luchadors, that'd be amazing if he doesn't really know Spanish. But maybe that way people just don't try to talk to him like he's fluent or something, so he can, not look too terrible. But I just want to send props out to those guys because like what they do and for some of the knocks that they've taken in the business too, to be as resilient as they've been and to keep going and to keep striving and making the big leaps forward that they are. And I know they've got their big con coming up, about a year from now in Vegas? Is that the deal?
Hey, I'll go. Shit.
No, I like them announcing something that far in advance. Like, do the promotion, get it out there, and let it have time to build. And so big props out to the guys over at Masked Republic for everything that they're doing. And that just goes to show you too. It's like if you support any type of independent wrestling, or there's workers out there that you like that aren't getting the push or the rub that they should be getting, there's ways to support them. Find these outlets like Masked Republic. Go to your indie shows, buy a shirt. Reach out to them on Facebook, prop up the stuff that you do like. There's been plenty of hate on the Twitter machines and the social media this week, and we'll get into a whole bunch of it shortly. But to combat all the hate, like if there's a product out there that you like or that you want to see go a certain direction, the best thing you can do is get involved, because believe me, social media does have an impact. I think that we've seen I think that we've personally seen that with Lucha Underground. There's certainly stuff that guys like us or J-Man or Urban or, various people have championed that has made its way into the program, whether you think they're stealing your ideas or not. But I think that our impact on the business has had a little bit of influence, and I think that other people can do this.
Justin, who championed the piece of shit episode this week?
Hey,
Not
Justin,
me.
Justin, you're about to finish making your point, and I just wanted to make sure we interrupted and stopped it before anyone could actually like get what the point of what you're talking about was.
Fuck yeah, fist bump, Byron.
No, I'm making fun of you, Casey.
Wow, you guys are jerks. Look, the last plug I got to get in real quick is I'm wearing my Doghouse T-shirt. This is the logo for the garage that is on my new show.
Woof woof.
Which is no longer called House of Cards. As I said a few weeks ago, that name might not make it through. It did not. It is officially called Gear Dogs. It will be on Discovery Channel this coming Monday, Motor Mondays, for the next couple months. So you're going to wait for Raw on Hulu anyway, so you don't have to watch the whole 3-hour version. We all know you want to watch the 1.5-hour version. So instead of watching Raw, check out my show, Gear Dogs, on Discovery Channel. Starting this coming Monday. That's as much of a plug as I can do. Keep me employed, people, because if it does well, it means very good things for me that I can talk about later. But
remember, that is Queer Dogs on Discovery Channel.
No, that's Gear Dogs.
Okay.
How come we have
something's up with my headset?
How come we have no thumbs up in the chat and we have 1 thumbs down?
I don't know. Probably because W is in there. I don't know who's in there.
He
Mr.
admitted
Krabs fucked it up. He probably clicked the wrong button.
God damn it, Mr. Krabs. Are you actually one of those fucking crab people that does the freak shows that has a little pinch your hands and you couldn't put a thumbs up?
Justin, what network and what time and what day is your show on?
Discovery Channel, Mondays. I believe we're in the 10 p.m. slot, but because a lot of people don't have the East or West Coast feed or whatever, it could be on at any time, depending on if you're in Central or Mountain or wherever, or if you're watching on a service as opposed to cable. So I just say watch on Monday nights. It's all Motor Mondays. If you like car stuff, you like all of it, look up your local listings for when it's on. But it'll probably be the third of the various car shows on Motor Mondays this week. And it's a new show. It's a new show, so it's not surprising they started us off at 10. I believe Diesel Brothers is probably our lead-in, which is also one of the better Discovery Motor Monday shows. In my opinion.
Yeah, Big Daddy Cool. Woo!
No, not that Diesel. Totally a different Diesel. Totally different Diesel. They're pretty jacked though.
That's cool that your show is on a different night than when my show is currently airing right now.
Your show is
Saturdays,
still airing new episodes, right? You still have new episodes?
Yeah. We still have new episodes. We make.
How come you don't ever plug your show? Are you not proud of your show, Byron?
I'm very proud of my show.
Then why don't you ever plug it? You've got this venue.
Then why are you laughing while you're saying you're proud of it?
You've got this venue where tens of people are listening to you every week. So why wouldn't you plug it?
Listen, just watch the show Saturdays at 10 p.m. on the DIY, because no one gets the DIY network, first of all.
I get the DIY network. I just don't watch the show.
You should watch the show. It's very fun.
Well, maybe now that my network is buying your network, maybe you'll get more exposure. Since Discovery Channel just bought out all of the Scripps networks, or is in the process of doing so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Justin, that means you're Byron's boss, right? Because I'm pretty sure that means you're Byron's boss.
He almost was my boss. He almost worked for actual Scripps, which would have been cool. But
except for the fact that if Discovery's buying them, I probably would have been out of a job like overnight. I don't know.
Like immediately after signing up. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, but it would have been cool for like a minute.
Well, we could have got him those legit boss rings and like some pink sunglasses and shit, and made him wear it for every podcast.
Can we talk about the booking mistakes for Sasha Banks?
Because no,
she was awesome. You know what's funny? I'll say this. I just saw this one tweet, and it's a Meltzer thing that actually rings really true, makes a lot of sense, where he said, if you asked me 6 months ago, the worst way to book like Sasha and Bailey and them to bury them as much as possible, it would be pretty much the same as what they did the last 6 months to try and make them stars.
So wait, did she drop again this week? I didn't watch Raw.
Yeah. She pulled a Sasha Banks and lost the title the next day.
She pulled it herself.
Yes.
But I mean, but here's the thing about WWE. maybe that is the genius of it. Maybe that becomes the thing. And hopefully, like, if they've gone this far down the road, if they keep doing that for like a year, that would be amazing. Unlike like their whole Charlotte never loses on pay-per-view thing. Like the second after they said it and called attention to it, they had her lose on pay-per-view. How dumb was that shit?
Well, if they conditioned you to believe in long-term planning, like there would be a payoff, then I think it would be cool, like you say. But I also think like they're just doing impulsive things where they want, let's do something cool, and then we'll just put it back to normal on Monday.
Well, while we're talking about it, let's just get it out of the way. How, I don't know how to put this politely. How does WWE have something so genius as to have Asuka hold on to her NXT title forever? How do they transition her out of that role? Are they just going to screw her up too? Like, I'm looking more and more at the Shinsuke thing, and they brought Shinsuke in right the first couple of weeks, but now I feel like within what 2-3 months we're already going to be in the same old world with Shinsuke.
I think
like, big Cena thing happened, and then now, you know, of course he didn't get the strap right now. The gender experiment's too important. I get that, but like, are we looking for the same thing with Asuka here? How are they going to handle her move?
I think Asuka has a built-in advantage in this situation over Shinsuke, in that she's a woman and she's an attractive, like charming woman beyond actual cutting promos in English. She has been able to cut promos in Japanese where you don't know what she's saying, but she gets it across. Like much like when we were in the temple and Pentagon Jr. was cutting promos in Spanish and he sounded like the most badass motherfucker, but you don't know exactly what he said, but you know what he said. Like she's been able to get herself across. Well, Casey probably knew. But she's been able to get herself across without having to cut the prototypical WWE in English promo. And so I think she does have an advantage. And I also think even if she isn't cutting promos, she's, you know, an attractive woman who goes out there and is wearing spandex, and that's going to get over with the crowd more than Shinsuke is.
Right, but she's going to be up there with 5 other girls that are like that have more juice in the back, that can talk their way into situations, and she's going to have to start dealing with 50-50 booking, and for that character and that style, it's going to completely kill her. She's going to be Tamina in 2 years.
I think the 50-50 booking is definitely going to, that's going to be the biggest thing that's going to fight against her. I don't think worst case scenario for her, she'll ever get near Tamina. Every time I see Tamina, I'm surprised she's still employed. I don't even know if she learned how to work in the ring. If you've seen her do a splash, she is Samoan. Samoans are born knowing how to be invincible to headbutts and how to do a top rope splash. And when she does a top rope splash, she jumps off the top rope, lands on her feet, and then lies down on someone.
I'd like to apologize to all our Fijian listeners for Byron thinking someone from the Fiji Islands is Samoan.
What?
What?
That kind of thing could get you killed in parts of San Francisco, Byron. Just saying.
I love that reaction, Byron. I think that's priceless.
Anyway, the Tamina splash, no matter where she's from, it's in her blood.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about Mae Young and some of the other women later, because this was also a surprisingly eventful and big week in women's combat sports and wrestling. But we'll talk about Mae Young in a little bit. Let's get into...
Good. I can throw away the catalog of knives that I was looking at while you guys were talking WWE. Okay.
Do you guys want to... Well, that's why I want to just get it out of the way. I mean, I feel like there's, you know...
I'm excited about the Mae Young tournament. It's awesome. I watched the first 4 shows. It was great.
Hey, who's Miz got in the Intercontinental thing right now? Who's he getting?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh, God, no. I just...
do we know who he's getting in his program yet, Byron? I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch the main shows this week.
Tito Santana.
I did not watch. I saw him cut a fire promo with basically kind of the week before when he cut the promo with Cena and Reigns, and he was being used to kind of help align them on the right track. He was like trying to help guide the audience to whatever. I don't know who he has. I don't know.
All right. Well, hey, we'll get back to
hold on. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's doing it. And
that's right. Okay. Happy birthday,
then,
Jeff. You get a
birthday, Jeff.
Program.
And then maybe hopefully that means that someone can be perhaps go back to the V1 gimmick.
Oh, Kevin Cross just liked our tweet that we're on live, so he better be listening. Nice. So we can talk about how he came into the title picture at Triplemania, and then he interfered in and then he got all the belts, and then all this great stuff that we've been building for months. Wait, no, that didn't happen.
Hey, he took care of business. That's
he did,
okay.
He did, and I love him, and we'll talk about that soon too. All right, so I'm going to give you guys the option.
Let's talk about Lucha Underground first, because we'll spend 2 minutes on it, because that's how long it took me to watch the fucking episode on fast forward, because I didn't want to see any of that shit.
Yeah, it was, you know what's sad about it? I'm going to start off with what's sad about it. It was a one-match show, but that one match, that match was good. And poor Argenis, who is a phenomenal worker.
Yeah.
Should have come to the ring with that giant sword, except that this was filmed like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Speaking of swords, why is there a Conor McGregor shot in the promo for that big fight where he's just wielding a sword? He's an MMA fighter, and he's Irish, and he's just holding a sword. For why?
Well, I'll get into that too, because honestly, I think that's halfway what the real boxing purists expected Conor to do. From the way that they talked to him in the opening instructions, it was like they expected Conor to come in like some kind of asshole. But anyway, let's go to Lucha Underground first.
Okay, yeah.
So
a lot of stuff.
First, really? You do?
A lot of stuff to say.
First of all, let me give you the caveat for everyone out there that I am still a fan of Lucha Underground. I know a lot of people have come and gone, and there's people who are not that thrilled with it, or people that are over it or done with it. I'm going to say that I am still a huge fan of the product. I still know that there's some great stuff coming. I still have a firm belief that at some point season 4 will happen, though it may really alter the face of what's going to be the product after that. But I still think it's a great show. I still think it's better than most of the stuff out there, and I still did not like this week's episode. This one wasn't for me, guys. I just have to say that. On a 10-point scale, I give it maybe a 2, and that's really, that 2 goes almost entirely to Marty the Moth and Argenis for the work that they did. Which
I think any goodwill that the show had this week from that match is completely ruined by this Matanza thing that opened the show. Or did it open the show? I think it opened the show, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that
it opened the show.
Segment felt a little off, didn't it? For the normal,
it was like a little forced, I think.
Okay, whoever fired the good sound guy and whoever replaced him now, give the old guy his job back, because those fucking growls that they dubbed in, I felt like I was watching some shitty ass Memphis studio work, and that Matanza's going to be feuding with Jerry Lawler over the fucking Southern title.
One can do. It's a power driver match.
I also have the feeling that wasn't even the man under the mask doing the grunts.
No.
It was like clearly Evie Dub or somebody in the post-production studio on a microphone like this, just going, ah.
Honestly, after I heard the stock sound effect they used for the door opening that was like off of a spooky Halloween. No one recorded that. It was some stock sound that they fucking pulled off of like a Halloween sound effects record or something.
Okay, but here's
one. Can't they use the one they had the last time he growled?
Yeah, maybe. But here's one of the things I'll say about it is, like, when you're working in post-production and you've got great episodes coming up that you want to be working on, and you get to an episode like this where you know it's after a huge week, and then you know you're going into Ultima Lucha and the 100th episode and things that you want to spend more time on in the edit and the sweetening, and you know it's a little bit of a throwaway episode, it's not going to be the one where you spend your time. Like, we've seen these editors and everybody do a great job on other episodes. You can't say that if it was up to you that you wouldn't have kind of phoned this one in as well. Like, I mean,
I never would phone anything in, Justin, because I take Lucha Libre seriously.
You phoning your whole life, Casey.
You phone in your face, Rocky Dennis.
When it comes down to time and money,
one's gonna get that.
I have to say that I'm happy that this is not the episode that they spent a bunch of time and or money or effort on. It wasn't the one. But anyway, yeah. So the thing we did get out of that segment is that clearly B-Boy has been released from his Lucha Underground contract. So Matanza has no more bail bones to chew on. And thusly, he has to be let out of his cage to go and try to destroy Ray at the 100th episode of Lucha Underground, which Byron and Casey were not at, and I was.
God damn it.
And I have the shirt to prove it.
I'm going to get a shirt. I'm going to get a shirt at the next taping that we go to.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Those guys are getting kind of old, and by the time that happens, the senility may have kicked in, and they may forget all about your T-shirt that they owe you, Byron. And they have your size sitting around, too. That was the only ones that were left. All the larges were gone like that. But they have XLs and double XLs or triple XL or whatever it is you wear.
Triple XL.
So anyway, I did like what came out of it, but you know, for that being the scene where Matanza has literally had the most lines that he's ever had in an episode, I was a little disappointed by that. But you know, it was still good though. I mean, I'm glad that Matanza's coming back. I saw a lot of people questioning out there, well, shit, if Ray Matanza is happening at episode 100 and not Ultima Lucha, what program does that leave them with going into Ultima Lucha? And my answer to that is, you'll see. I know the answer to that question, so I can't speculate on the answer to that question because I actually know the answer to that question. But what do you think would happen? I don't know. You guys weren't at the 100th episode, so I don't know if you guys know what goes on.
I was at Ultima Lucha. I think I know what happens at Ultima Lucha.
Okay, so
yes,
we can't really talk about it, guys, is the answer to that question. But I think that is the right question to be asking if you are a fan of the product and those guys. So the next match, Son of Madness, my favorite masked luchador of all time. No, actually, look, Kevin's great, but I just don't like this gimmick. I have no issue with the worker whatsoever. I also have no issue with Masquerita. Love Masquerita. I love the stuff that they do with him. I even like his comedy bits with Son of Havoc, but this match had nothing for me other than what is Paul London going to do with Masquerita? You
know what's funny, Justin? I think this is a good place to shit on Son of Madness. Even though we'll have another opportunity because we get to see him twice this week.
I know, because two of the same wrestler is not as good as two of the same wrestler seeing one of them twice.
Okay, You know what, Justin? This is what I'm shitting on. Two of the same wrestler. I think I know whose fault this is. Because I think the same guy decided to give Marty the Moth a clown gimmick when there were already literally 9 other clowns on the show.
Oh, yeah. Marty showing up in AAA and a bunch of fucking clowns.
Yeah, but don't you want a clown that doesn't actually wear a clown mask?
Like Pagano?
Half of them don't wear clown
Pagano doesn't wear a clown mask, dude. He just wears face paint.
Okay, so Pagano's pretty good and high up on the card.
And if you watch Triplemania, Psycho Clown barely wears a mask too.
Yeah.
And doesn't get really paid for it. We'll get to that though. Jumping ahead.
But no, Marty had a role to fill, right? There was like a gap in the 10 clowns that he was filling, wasn't there?
Well, to be fair, there's really only 7 clowns in AAA. Including him, there were just 3 other.
Mini Psycho?
Yeah, I'm counting Mini Psycho. So 10 clowns. Right. It was Mini Psycho. It was the 3 clowns that were in the Lumberjacks, the original Payasos. Okay, so that's 4. Then you have Murder Clown.
Yeah.
Then you have Monster Clown, 6.
Those and they're the new tag champs, right?
Yep. You have Dave the Clown.
Dave, who's awesome. We like Dave.
You have Marty the Clown.
Marty the Clown. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great.
Yeah. And then you have Pagano.
Yeah.
And you have Psycho Clown as 10.
That's a bunch of fucking clowns.
That's not even all the clowns. There's a mini. There are minis of the other Psycho Circus members, I think. At least there were at one time. And
I can only hope that was some guys doing double duty and that's not their normal mini gimmicks.
Oh, God. See, it's hard to tell with the minis unless one's like really good. That you can always pick them out.
Look, I will say this. AAA certainly has done better with their clowns than WWE ever did.
I don't know, dude. Matt Bornzoink, when he was evil, was fucking dope. When he fucking beat Crush with the fake arm and shit, that was awesome. Come on.
Mildly interesting, not awesome.
It made parents mad, which made me like it more.
So anyway, coming out of the Son of Madness Masquerita match, which had an unsurprising conclusion, we get this biker brawl set up, this Boyle Heights biker brawl set up between the two masked men from the open road. Yay. And all I was thinking is, as soon as they announced that, like, where's Tank Abbott when you need him? Like, if we're going to do a real biker brawl, can we do like an actual biker rally pit fight where they just dig out a hole in the ground and a bunch of people stand above two dudes who go in and bare knuckles fight? Like, pre-MMA, that was MMA, man. You went to a biker rally and dudes would literally try to bash each other's heads in a carved out pit in the ground. That's a real biker brawl.
I feel like we should have pitched this. I wasn't there at this taping, and I think it's interesting to see the drop in quality in episodes when I'm not there in the audience. I think it says something.
Well, DJ doesn't have to live up to your standard when you're not there.
So it's like, I'm just gonna dial it in. I'm gonna introduce 10 other sons of, so it catches up with the clowns.
I do think
it's gonna be like the Seven Dwarfs, but fucking Son of Madness.
If you're going to bring up Tank Abbott, it's a crime not to bring up how he was the strongest. He was the best member of 3 Count.
He fucking was. He had his little dot that he would dance in at ringside. He was fucking great.
Well, I think they put him in 3 Count because that's how many teeth he has left.
They brought him in to tighten up the choreography.
Okay, it was a great gimmick, though. I'm not gonna lie, that really was. Like, back in the WCW is completely out of control days, that was actually very entertaining.
It was like that and the Misfits showing up were like the two best things.
Yeah. I love how the Misfits would
they were.
No. It was the Juggalos. The Juggalos would come in and start doing all sorts of crazy shit. One of them, I think it was Shaggy 2 Dope, who did a moonsault, and then Hugh Morris chewed him out backstage because that was his finish.
Yes. But it's like, if the kid can pull it off, let him. I mean, I don't know.
Well, nowadays, everyone does finishes. Like, if you watch the Mae Young tournament, it's like every match is booked by itself and everyone's doing each other. Like, how many spears are you seeing now, you know?
You know what the surprising thing is this is not the only Juggalo talk that we'll have today, but we'll get to that later too. So let's talk about Marty versus Arhennis real quick.
It was a good match.
Look, Marty the Moth, again, we've said it before. I'm going to say it again. This kid, he is the perfect heel. Like, he's the nicest guy in the world, and you can't do anything but absolutely despise this guy when you see him on TV. Like, there is, in a place where it is really hard to get a real heel response, Marty still does it. Like, people love heels in the temple. People don't love Marty in the temple, and it's the right kind of not love. It's the totally over kind of heat that you absolutely want if you are a top heel in the entire wrestling business. I don't know if a run-in as a clown in Triplemania really solidifies that position in the world at all, but moments like this, where you just absolutely hate him. Arhennis comes in, and they're putting on a great match, and then within seconds, you've got Arhennis just gushing blood. Now, and I didn't see how that spot went down. I don't know quite if that was a blade. I'm sure it was a blade job to bleed like that, but
I don't
it was
know
well
what that
done.
means. What's a blade job? Let's just skip past that. Let's just skip past that.
Oh God, you're kidding me. But hey, you know, if you're a masked luchador, what do you care if you got a couple extra scratches in your forehead for the rest of the time?
I don't know. Look at Viano 3, and he used to blade it. He used to blade his chin, and now he has a butt chin. He didn't before.
So, and just to this was a perfect moment. Like this, I hope AAA was paying attention to this, because, you know, Arhennis's mask gets ripped a little bit during the mask. He does the job with the blade and whatever. He's bleeding. However it happened, Casey, he's bleeding.
Oh yeah, and way to switch to close up when he gets his fucking mask ripped off, so you could just see his whole face.
Well, but I mean, I still like that was how it was done, and I thought that the blood was a good enough cover up. I thought the proverbial crimson mask, but you can't say that even that close up didn't make you hate Marty more. I think they chose that close up because it was like, oh my God, Marty, this isn't even a masked match. You can't do that, you jerk.
No, it didn't make me hate him more. It made me love him more. I feel like you don't know me that you say such things. Yeah, he's lucky the sword wasn't there, or we would have had like an Arhennis kebab, and it would have been like really bad. You know, he would have been a skeleton again. No one wants him to be a skeleton again. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Case fade, shit. What's a skeleton?
Let's just say Arhennis gets more work than some people might think.
I just like the next match because it had the most impeccable timing of being featured on Lucha Underground, and portraying someone as a face that we'll talk about later.
Why can I not mute him when he gets up and walks away? I'll just turn
he muted himself.
Oh, good.
I can see the icon, but yeah, impeccable timing. We got to see everyone's favorite wrestler right now, Sexy Star.
Well, before we get to that, I just want to throw in that I liked Marty dangling the mask in Melissa's face. I liked the Phoenix run in this time, doing the super kick city on everybody. Mm-hmm. And I also like Melissa running up in the ring and like bringing back her wow glory, because she actually looked kind of tough for a minute there. And Melissa's yoked. She's more yoked than people might think. Like, that girl's got some muscles. But here is my problem with it. I am starting to actually really like Phoenix as her boyfriend. And I'm starting to wish that really was her boyfriend, because that's a better story than who her actual boyfriend is, because her and Phoenix together is kind of cute. Like, her and the other guy together isn't cute. I mean, maybe appropriate, but not cute.
All I know is it made me hate social media for a really long time.
Their very public relationship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Super entertaining, though.
If you don't know what we're talking about, ask Rob Viper. He'll tell you. It's at Rob Viper on Twitter.
He'll be happy to tell you too, I'm sure.
He thinks it's hilarious. But yeah, okay, so we got Marty. Right. And then we had this great match, and then we switch
to a match that surprised a lot of people that would even be on TV this week, considering
it moved 2 storylines forward. They're gonna keep it going, so it's like,
well, you would think if one of the 2 people in the match was blackballed, that it wouldn't be, or that it would be Joey Ryan, but it's not.
No, he would be blue balled.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think people really love seeing this finish. I think it's unfortunate that Taya came in with a fan sign for this certain someone whose name I almost don't even want to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Let's just get it over with. Star. Star. Perfect timing. Sexy Star. I thought that it was... I feel like this is very interesting how this is all coming together, where it feels like we're leading towards a possible feud with Sexy Star and Taya in Lucha Underground that would have been filmed, over a year and a half ago or something, when that's really what everyone would love to see in AAA with the real life stuff that's going on, but you're not going to get it in AAA. All you could possibly hope for at this point in time is like a year and a half old version from Lucha Underground, which obviously won't have the same kind of heat, because as far as anybody knows, they didn't really have any real heat at the time, not any major heat. But I thought it was funny that Taya comes in with the sexy sign, gets the distraction, Joey completely obliterates Sexy Star, and then I really want to say this correctly. Don't let me mess this up. Then Joey Ryan pulls his lollipop out of his shorts and threatens to put it in Sexy Star's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that accurate the way I said that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't write that, people. I didn't write that. That is literally a description of what was happening. And I'm sure Joey probably lobbied for that in the back himself to be the spot. But then, of course, there's a save. Freaking Ricky Reyes, Cortez Castro, thinking that he's coming to the aid of a babyface, probably trying to be a babyface, has picked the absolute worst week to try to get a face turn by helping Sexy Star. Because I'm here to tell you, this is not the week that you're going to get a face turn by helping Sexy Star.
Boo that greasy dolphin man.
Yeah, and if poor Joey Ryan is trying to get some heel heat, beating up Sexy Star and then getting in a match with Cortez Castro is not the way to do it. I'm sorry, Joey. You're going to be over. If Taya and this potential, you know, if Taya and Sexy Star are going to a feud here, that's going to be really, really weird on TV if Taya is still being portrayed as the heel and Sexy's being portrayed as the face, because nobody watching at home is going to agree with that.
I don't know. Some people are pretty fucking stupid, Justin. That's all I got to say.
Well, we'll get to that because there's definitely a lot of people defending Sexy as much as you would probably not believe that. And we'll get to that because some people are probably going, what happened? Like, if you didn't watch Triplemania, you may not know what we're talking about. Okay, if you didn't watch Triplemania, you don't use Twitter, and you don't follow anyone who follows wrestling, then you have no clue what I'm talking about. For the other 4,000 of you that hear this podcast, you probably know exactly what I'm referring to.
Shit, our numbers are that high? Wow.
Well, you know, it's really weird. Our iTunes numbers are through the roof right now. You know, we've been getting solid numbers on YouTube. SoundCloud is, since we started doing YouTube, SoundCloud itself has dipped considerably, but the iTunes numbers are up just because there's lots of subscriptions, and I don't know, we just get big iTunes numbers now, which I didn't even realize because those stats aren't really attached to anything, and they're kind of hard to look up. But regardless, it does remind me though that I have to make sure that even though we're doing video when we initially do these podcasts, that we describe certain things that listeners will not be able to see later. Anyway, so heading into Ultima Lucha. Well, no, first we're going to get this Ricky Reyes Cortez Castro 5-0 match, which Dario is called for. What is it called? A 5-0 street fight?
5-0 street fight, not to be confused with the biker street fight, not to be confused with the Boyle Heights brawl.
Okay, you weren't at this one. I was at this one. I will just say this is a better case scenario than what you got this week.
Okay, that's good.
You especially will enjoy this one, Casey. This one is done the right way. This one is, I think, something that DJ probably had planned for a long time. There's a lot of foresight and thought that went into this one. And again, this is another one that I think the hiatus may have hurt because honestly, at the beginning of this season, this was a hot angle.
Yeah.
And it cooled way too much during the Cueto Cup. Maybe it should have been paid off before, but I feel like, you know, we don't know what's going on with Captain Hotness right now. This could tie into a bigger storyline picture because look, Reyes has been outed now. Clearly he hasn't done what Captain Hotness instructed him to do. So is there going to be a repercussion from her? She looks like she probably knows more about what's going on in the temple storyline wise than he does at this point. So, you know, big things could happen here towards the end of this season because I feel like you're leading towards a backstage payoff that none of us know involving Katrina and Captain Hotness and Cortez and Joey Ryan. And like, I think you're going to see the convergence of a few storylines here, and hopefully this 5-0 street fight will help that. I'm very curious to see what kind of vignettes they put into this match and that come out of it in the weeks after, because I think you'll get some good stuff leading up to Ultima Lucha.
I feel like somebody's gonna fucking die.
And then the final match, Son of Madness versus Son of Havoc. Don't know who won, don't care. This is probably my second least favorite match ever in Lucha Underground.
You know what, Justin? Son of Havoc won because he won a fucking Gift of the Gods medal. Remember when the Rabbits Tribe won and I said at least it wasn't fucking Son of Havoc? Well, there you go.
Well, hey, it could have been something where they tagged together and they both got in, so at least it wasn't that. And I don't know, does this mean Son of Madness is gone now? Is he eliminated from this? Can we get back on to normal life?
I don't know. I like this guy. I want to see him have something.
No, I like the guy under the mask. What's his name?
Yeah.
Kevin? He's the other Kevin.
Yeah, he's let's go Kevin. Kevin sucks. Dude, Johnny Goodtime. Let's just call him Matt because that was my favorite gimmick of his, man.
Yeah. Well, and look, he got on air. He had a run. I just don't think that this was the best use of him. I'm not a fan of the imposter gimmick or the clone gimmick of any kind, of any fashion, regardless of where it has happened and what promotion. It's just not my thing. So I'll just leave it at that. If there's people out there that enjoyed it, more power to you. I hope you.
Go watch Undertaker. Go watch Undertaker versus Undertaker. You fucks.
Ugh. Not a fan. Anyway, so that's it. That's Lucha Underground. I give it a 2 out of 10 this week. Sorry, guys. Sorry to, you know, the guy, you know, and I hate to shit on it because I really appreciate the work that they put into that show. That just wasn't that episode, not for me. I am very excited to see the 100th episode. I think the 5-0 Street Brawl, whatever thing, is actually pretty good. I was there live. I'm gonna co-sign that as being worth watching next week and the following week. I think they're both good episodes. So watch. And then we're going into Ultima Lucha. So there's huge things. Believe me, huge things. So I can't feel too bad about completely shitting on this week's episode. Moving on.
Yeah. Remember, it gets better. We promise.
It really does. It really does. And the crappy thing about that is, with no season 4 announcement, you're going to go into probably, I'm going to say that the second episode of Ultima Lucha Trace out of 4, I'm going to say that the second episode of Ultima Lucha Trace is probably one of the best wrestling programs you'll ever watch.
Shit, wait, was that the first? I thought that was the first.
I think it's going to be in the second episode, I believe.
Okay.
Well, the match that we're talking about, when you see it and some of the accompanying things that go with it, and there's a few matches too. There's not just the one. There's like 3 or 4 that I think are top notch, like high level, best indie, super indie stuff you'll see out there for sure, kind of stuff. I mean, spectacles that you will be very surprised could be pulled off in front of 400 people in a venue that small with that kind of budget and that kind of time. Amazing work. Big kudos to the workers ahead of time. Keep watching, people. I know people are starting to get a little sour on the product, but I'm telling you, the next 7 or 8 episodes are probably really worth watching.
And if they're not, the last half of those will be,
for sure.
We guarantee it. Yeah.
We'll see what you guys think. Like I was the one at the tapings for the next couple. I enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were really good. We'll see what you guys think when you see it on TV. Because, you know, sometimes being there live influences you. Quick question. Let's get into Triplemania a little bit. But I want to ask, before we get into Triplemania and talk about who was there, I'd like to talk about who was not there. Alberto El Patron. What the hell happened there, Casey? Like, did AAA really try to copyright that name after all this time and then have an issue with him?
All I know is everyone was saying he was gonna be the person that entered after Jeff Jarrett in the Clusterfuck Battle Royal, and no one did. He didn't. It was weird.
I've heard that they were going to do that, and they were going to tape a segment that was leading into the next big GFW pay-per-view, which is when he's supposed to come back off his weird suspension thing, which is also strange. Like, and him dropping the belt there. Like, everywhere this guy goes now, there's some weird controversy. You see him in the ring for a couple of weeks. The first 2 are usually bad. And then by the 3rd or 4th performance, he's usually amazing. And then by the 5th performance, he's gone for some reason. Like, it doesn't even matter what promotion or where. And I get to the point where I'm starting to ask myself, like, why do people keep using this guy? If there's always controversy following him, if you can never keep him in the ring for very long, if his performances are so hit and miss, how does he keep showing up places and getting at the top of the game? Does he really have that many friends? Like, is he just the nicest guy in the world backstage or something?
Dude, a lot of people do love him backstage and think he's a good dude. I've heard the exact opposite from other people, but
he is a very polarizing figure. Like, the interviews I've seen with him, he seems very affable. He seems like he's really intelligent, that he has a great understanding of the business, that he knows what he's doing, and he's put on some great performances. I've personally gone back and forth from the guy being really over with me to me just going, why do I ever care about this freaking guy?
You know what? I'm going to break it down why he keeps getting hired, right? Is every wrestling promotion is like, we need a star for the Hispanic market, right? You know, like every promotion says that. And every promotion's too fucking stupid to try to find one. So they're going to try to just grab on to somebody that's already been pushed a lot and that people know, instead of going and picking a dude like fucking Drago or fucking Phantasma that can fucking work and is in GFW and can talk. And, you know, Drago we mostly hear him with like kind of a weird monster voice, but you know, it doesn't matter if he's really talking or not. But you know, like instead of taking a chance and making a star out of someone that could go, they just keep going with a dude that's got a lot of problems and, you know, gets stabbed and no shows autism benefits. So it's like,
that was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, you kind of get what you pay for here. But they're paying more too. That's the thing. If they just see, the thing is, I see why you don't want to use a AAA guy, because AAA is probably going to fuck the deal somehow, and then you're going to have this guy Push that just disappears. I understand that. But there's a lot of dudes out there that you could bring in and do a good job with, and you just got to scout the indies a little bit. Fucking big, you know, like Laredo Kid. Okay, I would make him a top star. That's a pick right there. Not connected to AAA right now. He's a guy that I would make a top star. And everyone in the chat room's probably like, yeah, Laredo Kid's the shit. If you don't know who Laredo Kid is, fuck you. Yeah, there you go.
He is the shit. Which, by the way, in the chat room, I noticed that Mr. Krabs says that he found this podcast because of the Why These Episodes Matter spots that we appeared in on El Rey Network. Which is amazing, because our tag for the show is so brief that you would have to like totally freeze frame it to even be able to type in our Twitter handle to find us. But hey, look, I guess advertising works.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Disco Stew doesn't advertise. Let's move on.
So okay, let's talk about AAA Triplemania 25 anniversary episode. First thing I'm going to say about this before we shit on various parts of it is I was highly entertained. And that whole
sometimes for the wrong reasons, though.
Well,
come on, you got to say that.
I don't disagree. And that's part of, like, you know, we'll talk a little bit about KG, but that's part of what I hope KG takes away from all of this. The OG Kevin Gill, who was one of the commentators who you can hear on Conan's podcast, and he has his own podcast.
I don't think so anymore. I don't think he's going to be on that podcast anymore.
You never know. I don't know. Their heat is whatever. But the thing that I hope he takes away from this, and I hope a lot of people take away from it, is like, look, you're watching this stuff to be entertained, and there's no way that if you even halfway know what's going on, if you watch that Triplemania, that you weren't entertained by the spectacle of it. And we're getting this on the same day as Conor and Floyd. So I'm sitting there waiting for Conor and Floyd to come on. Like, I was watching part of Triplemania on Twitch in my car, driving to where I was going to watch the Conor fight. And then I'm sitting there and I'm surrounded by people, and I've got a headphone in, and I'm watching on my phone Triplemania the whole time, and I'm just like laughing, and people are like, oh, what are you watching, some funny cat memes or something? I'm like, no, I'm watching Mexican wrestling, and it's great. And people are just looking at me like I'm insane. But I was having a better time than everyone else there, who was just all worried about the Conor Floyd thing, or watching some super shitty undercard boxing, something that boxing still can't get right, where UFC is clearly superior. Whether you like boxing more or MMA more, you have to admit UFCs are worth watching start to finish. Boxing is not. Anyway, so, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching these crazy things happen. And I didn't get half of what was going on. Kevin Gill certainly wasn't helping me on the commentary. And I like KG, but this was not his finest moment as any participant in the wrestling world.
Honestly, he's lost any goodwill I had towards him. And I was telling people to catch the show because I thought he would do a good job. And I want to say I'm sorry to all those people.
Yeah, Casey said it on this show. This is one time where Casey got it wrong. He had high hopes for KG's commentary, which surprised me because I didn't think that Casey was really a fan of anyone who was into juggalos.
No, you know what? Willie Mack's the fucking chocolate juggalo, and I love that guy, man. Wow. He doesn't call himself that anymore, but he used to. And yeah, he was the shit. And dude, nah, it's being a shitty announcer is being a shitty announcer. Because you know what? I fucking hated the job Matt Stryker did 2 years ago, but luckily we only got to hear about 10% of it due to technical issues.
Okay, but now look. So
but this was worse.
KG's argument for not being so good was that he didn't have a format card. They weren't doing any on-screen graphics. And I believe Stryker's year, they actually had on-screen graphics. But Stryker, to his defense, certainly knew more about the product.
He definitely did, but he said a lot of stupid, smarky shit that I didn't like.
Right. And he got shit on for that by a lot of people. There were a lot of people that weren't fans of it. It wasn't what they were expecting from it. I think they expected a calmer, more New Japan style of commentary almost, where he was just kind of explaining things to the audience and opening up the new audience. And I think that for what AAA should do moving forward is that's what they need. When they do American commentary, they don't need necessarily the most exciting commenters, but they need someone that can inform a new audience, because really with the whole Twitch experiment, that's what they're trying to do. And they had a great show to do that with. And if you have someone there who, and KG possibly could have even been that guy, but KG couldn't have been that guy on 2 or 3 days notice.
No, but you know what?
He could have done a little bit better though.
I could have been that guy on 2 or 3 days fucking notice. All you got to do is Google some shit, like the Llave de Gloria match that they had, the 2 matches that they had first with the tryouts.
Casey, you would have been great for this, but could you have done it without cursing?
Would they have needed me to? I mean, I could have done it without fucking cursing.
So you can't even say the sentence without cursing in it.
Yeah, no, but I can do it. I've done announcing before, and
Casey, this podcast didn't used to have an explicit tag until you came on.
I'm sorry, I'm passionate about the sport of lucha libre, Justin. I'm sorry.
Well, look, for the guys at Twitch and for the people listening out there, if you want another tall, lanky white dude to take a shot at it next year, pick the Professor Casey over here over KG.
Dude, pick all 3 of us, dude. We'll do the MMM commentary. Byron will start talking about WWE like halfway through the show.
Well, I can definitely mess up the names plenty good. That would be awesome.
And he it was funny because he was saying that he thinks all the negativity towards him is due to his pronunciation. It's not. It's due to you not knowing who guys that have been on the roster for fucking years and are like main players in the promotion.
Here's where he completely lost me. Like, I was on and off with him the whole show, and then we get to the final match, and he's got a moment, in a big freaking moment where Dr. Wagner is going to take his mask off. Dr. Wagner starts his promo with bien, and KG doesn't know that that's his catchphrase.
Why is he saying bien if he's taking his mask? God damn it. Okay.
I don't know if that was meant to be a joke or what. Like, he better say that was meant to be a joke, because KG, as unfamiliar as he is with AAA, claims to watch Lucha Underground.
He's been in the fucking temple. I've met him there. It's like, come on. Oh, God damn it. And you know what?
Byron, are you having
made
trouble
it farther
talking?
than me.
I'm not. I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I had you turned down. It was so nice, Casey. We got through like 20 minutes without hearing Byron at all.
Justin, you made it way farther in than I did because...
were you switched over to the Spanish by then?
I switched over too. When he said, here comes a famous luchador, and then just was quiet when someone walks in, it's like...
Yeah. Yeah, shit. Who was it?
Worldwide. What are you talking about?
Okay. I know I switched before he didn't know who the clowns were. I know I switched before that, but he didn't know who fucking Dave the Clown is. The guy with the most interesting story in all of AAA of how he got hired. He got his job by doing a shoot run-in during a match. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, Dave's awesome.
Yeah, Dave is the shit, and he took pictures with Marcos, so bonus points.
I'm also not going to say that I necessarily know a ton either. Like, I don't know that I would have... Well, I probably would have done a better job just because... I would have watched every piece of tape that I could have, and I would have talked to you and Lucha Blog and anybody I knew that knew anything about AAA before I went into something like that, even on 3 days' notice. But I'm not going to say that I'm more educated about AAA or Lucha Libre than Kevin Gill.
I am going to say that I am.
I would have done a better job than that.
I'm going to say that I am, and I'm going to say that you are, Justin. I'm going to say that Byron is.
Maybe.
I'm even going to say fucking W is if he's in the chat. You know what?
W is in the chat.
And actually, he does know a lot about Lucha Libre. But there are people more qualified for the job than any of us would have been. I'm just saying that we would have sucked a lot less. But
I just thought he would have done his homework more, and that's why we were excited about him doing it, because he seems like the kind of guy that would go out there and get the information.
Dude, do you know how much fucking prep I did for a show that never even happened? Yes. Like, that I might have announced for it? Like, seriously, like,
Well, yeah, like as soon as you hear like, hey, you might be an announcer on this show, what do? You first thing you say is, what's the card? Who's on it? Is there anyone big coming in? Like, what can't I say? What's the surprise? Like, these are the things any good announcer is going to ask, and then they're going to say, oh, okay, so what are you trying to get over about this guy? And then you're going to say, okay, can I see some tape? What's his finisher? You know, what move sets does he normally use? What style does he wrestle? Like, you at least want those 3 points about every single guy on the card. You want to know his finisher. You want to know his move set. You want to know his style. You want to know if the promoter's got an angle for him. You have to know those 3 or 4 things if you're going to announce any show.
See, that's if you want to do like a super good job. But if you just want to do passable, how about knowing who is who? That's important, okay? Yeah, the Llave de Gloria match, they announced people in Spanish. Maybe pay a little bit of attention. You might pick it up. But also, there were graphics online that Cubs fan found. Lucha Blog fucking tweeted it. That's how I knew who everyone was. I looked at a picture with everyone's name on it for 2 minutes, and then I was able to tweet the whole match knowing who everyone was.
Wasn't Lucha Blog tweeting at him? Like, hey, here's the information of the match? Like,
yeah, and
didn't have international service on his cell phone down there, did he?
Oh, shit. You know what?
You should get Wi-Fi in arenas, though. But I know Lucha Blog was like, anytime something happened, he goes, these are the people.
And now Gil's taking the shit talking Lucha Blog anywhere he can on Twitter. Which is
Conan and Kleinrock didn't help that. Or Conan straight out used Lucha Blog at the beginning of his show as a source to tell, like, look, I mean, Conan basically said it, and it's true. Like, here's a guy who could give 2 shits about you. If you've done good, he'll say you've done good. If you've done bad, you've done bad. And Lucha Blog says you've done bad. He's completely unbiased, and he says you shit it. You shit the bed on it. And you know, props to Conan for using Lucha Blog as that source, because it's completely true. If you want something to be as accurate as possible, he tries to get his facts straight. He does have an opinion. He will share that opinion, and he'll tell you the facts for that opinion. You know, and he shit on Kevin because he's a fan of Lucha Libre, and he knows that Kevin did not do the product justice, did not do the workers justice. It's just that simple.
Nah, dude, and it's like, you know, there's so many people that are out there that are really good minds for Lucha Libre. You got Lucha Blog, you got Rob Viper, you got Fredo and Kurt from Lucha Worlds. Like, they're all really knowledgeable dudes that if you don't get them to commentate, maybe you can get them to fucking prep your guys. I don't know. But, you know, even if the promotion doesn't give a shit about what their English commentary comes off like, it was still the worst commentary I've ever seen. And I lived through the Rob Bartlett era of Monday Night Raw, okay?
I was going to say, come on, there's been some pretty awesome ones out there. Well, hopefully this gives everyone who shits on Stryker more of an appreciation for Stryker, because I am a Stryker fan.
You know what? I think Stryker gets too much shit. I think sometimes he deserves shit and he gets it, and sometimes he gets too much shit. But
you know why I don't think he deserves the shit though? Because I feel like of the guys out there, he's one of the few that's trying to actually do something different. Like, if you turn on WWE, do you know the difference between Todd Phillips and like half those guys sound the same, and it's like the same compendium of guys. It's like, you know, super straight man that sounds exactly the same as all the other ones, and a pretty faced black dude with too much cream on his skin, and a heel. You know, it's like, how boring.
You got a little specific in there.
Yeah, come on, because it describes all the color commentary guys.
Oh, let's take it easy using that word.
Come on. Okay, fine. Tokens.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Booker T is a fucking legend. Jesus Christ.
Whatever. Yeah, but I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that, and I don't dislike him for doing it at all. But ask yourself why he's there. It's a stale formula, and the thing I like about Stryker is whether you love him or not, he is committed to his own style at this point. He does his corny jokes, he does his puns, he does his total non sequitur pop culture references that only guys in my age bracket will get most of the time. And then they wonder why their numbers skew high on Lucha Underground. But it's like, he is owning it. and he's not trying to do what all these other guys are trying to do, and it just irks me. And now and I also feel like GFW has gotten to that point now where they're mimicking the same stale WWE formula. Why do that at the announcement?
It's because like all of these other groups other than Lucha Underground are just hiring like old WWE production crew that got released, and so they're doing the same shit.
Do you know how nice it was to hear Lita on the Mae Young Classic, even though she was not very good at commentary at all? It was just refreshing to have someone who was kind of fumbling their way through it, but she was doing a very natural take on it. She was just kind of calling what was in front of her. She wasn't over-prepared. She wasn't over-hyping. She didn't have to read a bunch of dumb storyline cues. She didn't have somebody buzzing in her ear the whole time. You could tell she just went out there, talked about the product as best as she could, and that was so refreshing to hear somebody actually do mediocre commentary.
You know what's funny about Mae Young, the Mae Young tournament? So Lita was doing her thing, but JR was also like, JR is a legend.
Yes, but the caveat is you don't have to call out the differences between men and women all the time. That is sexist as the fact that there are the differences, JR.
JR sounded like he was that one racist uncle who kept telling you about like the one black guy he knows that can
I've got a black friend. He basically did the entire commentary from the I've got a black friend thing. I know women. Women are awesome.
I know a woman who knows how to vote.
Oh my God.
She walks out of the kitchen. It's great.
Guys, I don't know what you're talking
about
because I heard WWE and I left, but is there any truth to the rumor that Matt Stryker begged for season 4 not to be renewed so that he didn't have to lose to me in the wrestling name game?
That might be true because there is still that challenge. It does require, however, that there be a season 4 so that the parking lot wrestling name game challenge between the Professor Casey and Matt the Teacher Stryker can happen. So the real question is the Professor smarter than the teacher?
Look, I've got so many degrees, bro. That's all I got to say. I got fucking MFA. I got MA. Got a BA working on my teaching.
If you guys wonder what we're talking about, by the way, go back to our episode with Matt Stryker and check it out because that challenge was issued and accepted. So we're going to hold Matt
and kind of back down from a little bit at the end. But
I think he was surprised with your knowledge base. I think he throughout the course of the conversation, I think Matt was just like, "Oh, these guys aren't just a bunch of dumb marks."
All of us are smart.
You know, I surprise myself sometimes. But
you know an unconscionable amount of dumb shit.
I don't even know why. Like, it's not useful in any way. It's made me $0 in life.
Well, maybe you can put a side bet on it with Stryker and actually make some money from it this time.
Okay, you better give him fucking Conor's odds if you guys are gonna bet.
Yeah, really.
Because Floyd Hair is going to take it.
Well, I do want to talk about that, but let's finish up this AAA conversation because there's a few other finer points that we didn't talk about. I really liked the what was the match? Mini Psycho Clown, Hernandez,
Big Mommy,
Mamba on one team and one other person on that team, and then Mascara de Bronze, Dynastia. Was that who was on the team too?
Yeah,
Big Mommy.
You're basically Kevin Gill in terms of pronunciation.
I'm not trying, and I'm also trying to remember off the top of my head.
La Hydra that he keeps.
Hold on, I've got a sheet here with all the. I got a sheet somewhere that has.
Okay, I gotta talk about this match while you're doing that, Justin.
But I like this match. That's all I was gonna say. That was the first match on the main card, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of crazy. This was the looseness that I expected from the other matches, which went way too far, but I liked it in this match.
And Gil got Mamba and Hydra confused, so he was calling La Hydra, who is clearly not a transsexual man pretending to be a woman, called her an exotico rudo. I just wish someone would have just told Sangre Chicana about this because we wouldn't be having Kevin Gill do his little tweets angry about this stuff now.
Who was the other exotico? Divine Stars?
Yeah, Estrella Divina, who is an exotico that got implants.
That's so hot.
Like Goldust wanted to.
Mm.
You know,
we were part of why you gotta love AAA. Like, if you don't want some of that, like if you don't find some of that to be completely outrageous and entertaining, then AAA might not be for you, because over the years there's been a ton of that.
You know, AAA is not for a lot of people, and what sucks is, though, I think it is for a lot of people, and they would have got turned off by the shitty announcing and maybe not fans because of that. Like, I do think that, like, there's bad announcing, but I do actively feel like it was damaging the show's potential to reach a new audience. Because not even knowing who the people are, who are you gonna know to watch the next time there's a show? I gotta say, I fucking loved the main event more than anything.
Well, and I like that too.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to that too, but I just want to say that I thought that Big Mommy and Hernandez, their spots in this crazy match were awesome. Like Big Mommy coming off the top and splashing everybody.
That was awesome.
Like, come on. That was just fun. That's actual fun stuff. And then the tag match with a couple of clowns, Murder Clown and Monster Clown, right? Or yeah, it was Murder and Monster. And then the GFW team, like, were they even there?
Dude, I don't know. DJ Z had his entrance was so fucking over. The fans were loving him, and then he's like barely featured in the match.
Yeah, I was very surprised too, because he's a really good worker, and I don't even really know the other guy.
Oh, Andrew Everett. He's pretty good, dude. Yeah, me and Byron saw him at Bola a couple years ago. He did some good stuff.
Yeah, I get Andrew Everett, and I get what is it?
Mandrews.
I get maybe Mandrews, Trevor Lee.
Oh yeah, Trevor Lee.
And now I'm even forgetting Dave. He's in New Japan, and he's the son.
Dave Finley.
And Dave Finley, sort of all like they're all the same person to me. They all like look the same. They're all like
mid-sized white guys that can go a little bit.
Yeah, so Mandrews is not in that group because he's very different looking.
It's not Mandrews. No. I know Mandrews. Mandrews, I think looks like a giant rock star spud. But the other ones, they all look like the same like white guy wrestler who doesn't look like a guy wearing tights. He looks like a guy walking around in his underwear in public.
Looks like Chris Hero lost some weight. And
a little bit, and height.
Well, so they were in it, of course. Aerostar and Drago were in it, and then who was the fourth team? Case,
dude, you're asking me this shit, and I'm pulling a gill because I didn't think we were gonna go match by match today.
No, I just I don't want to go match by match. I left out all the pre-card stuff, but anyway,
oh God.
I just want to talk about Aerostar climbing up on that rigging. That was not OSHA approved, guys.
That was fucking stupid.
That was a crazy, stupid spot. They didn't even really have the wide shot when he jumped off, which I couldn't believe. I was like, oh my God, you put that guy all the way up there. You're doing this crazy X Division, like X Championship spot off the scaffolding, and then you don't even get the shot? Aerostar, like, puts himself in harm's way to splash everybody from, like, and it was so random too. Like, and of course, you have no explanation storyline-wise of why the entire scaffolding is coming down to him. And then it goes up. Like, it would have been awesome if they had shown somebody backstage who was doing that for him or worked some kind of angle or whatever. But it's just random. The whole scaffolding comes down to the lighting rig, comes down to Aerostar. He gets on it. The lighting rig then goes back up like 60 freaking feet for Aerostar to eventually get his splash spot where he comes down on everybody, which was awesome. God bless the guy. But I just wanted to point that out. And then a bunch of fucking clowns win the belts.
But also, as far as how you build the match, he did that amazing thing, and then the match kept going for a long time. Like, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, it was a high spot that wasn't quite in the right place, but it was the right thinking. And hey, I remember.
Oh God, the one thing that I got from that spot is poor fucking Monster Clown, who no one else caught Aerostar but him, and he caught him with his fucking chest. That had to suck. Oh my God, poor fucking Monster Clown.
Yeah, Aerostar's split vagina hair above a mini size, but at the same time, coming down at terminal velocity still hurts.
Yeah, I'm the reason that we get the explicit tag when Justin's talking about split vagina hairs.
Hey, that's a scientific word. That is
those
not
aren't
a
curse
curse
words.
word.
Yeah, but we know what you really meant.
All right. Well, look, I try to keep it scientific. So Okay, we got to talk about the Reynos match. We have to talk about it.
I've got a lot on this, Justin.
What the ever living fuck? There's your explicit tag right there.
Can we start with the pre-show event?
Please do, because the photograph thing was a mess. The match was a mess. The aftermath is a mess. It's still a mess 5 days later.
Okay,
about it, Casey.
So Tyus on Talk is Jericho, right? Like, like a week ago, like before this, and says, "My friend Lady Shawnee's in the match. I hope she kicks Sexy Star's fucking ass." And well, no one likes Sexy Star, and basically, Shawnee did try to kick her ass during the match, and things got a little stiff. The whole match fell apart because as soon as Sexy Star gets hit for real when it's not in a fake boxing match, she freezes up and starts complaining outside of the ring. So she missed every spot she was supposed to be in. Rosemary hit her with a trash can lid. It looked a little stiff, but it's something anyone should expect in a match that oh, no. It was Ayako that hit her with a trash can lid.
Hamada-san, hi.
Kind of hard, but hey, strong style, motherfucker. And the funny thing is, when Sexy Star swung back, Hamada got her arms up like a smart person, and didn't get hit in the head.
I mean, this is one of the problems with once a match goes stiff like this. Once you know everyone's shooting on each other, the problem then becomes now everyone's shooting, punching and hitting for real, and no selling. It's like all of a sudden the punches get harder than your average match. The look of the whole thing gets stiffer than your average match. And yet everyone's standing there like,
Yeah, and I don't think Hamada was really shooting because Sexy Star's still breathing. But this whole thing happens. Rosemary didn't really do shit. Like, she was in the match, but she wasn't hurting anyone. And she gets put in an armbar by Sexy Star, taps out. As she's tapping out, Sexy Star cranks on the armbar harder, pops her arm. And yeah, it's, people fear an injury when you get your arm popped until you get it looked at. It really fucking hurts.
But sometimes you can just pop them right back in and you're fine the next day.
Right. Or sometimes it just makes the pop and you're fine. And, but it's sore as fuck for a couple hours afterwards. I was the only white belt in my jiu-jitsu class for a while, that was beginning. And I got armbarred a few times.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And if you're expecting it to be a fucking worked wrestling match, you're not going to try to get out of the armbar, especially when you already tapped and the ref's supposed to pull the other person off of you.
And I also wonder, clearly I know Sexy was going to go over, but I wonder if that was supposed to be the finish to put her over, or if they just looked at Rosemary and were like, we're going home with you instead of whatever, Hamada or Shawnee, because it just wasn't going to work with them at that point in time. I wonder if that was a switch.
I don't know. I thought
Rosemary was there at the job. Yeah, I thought she was there to lose the match.
She's out of promotion. But I also something that I started noticing when I started watching New Japan in Shinsuke matches is he goes for that armbar because he has MMA experience, and he never actually gets the armbar clean unless he's gonna win or someone's already in the ropes. And I think that's an important thing in wrestling matches when you're working that kind of armbar, because that armbar you don't sit in for an hour. It's one of the most dangerous armbars. You guys probably know.
Well, yeah, if you're torquing it back, if you're actually pulling it or twisting the wrist while you're coming back so that the elbow straightens out the other way, and then you're pulling it back, that's when it becomes dangerous.
And it's a lot of work because you have to drive your pelvis into their elbow too to really tweak it, and that's what happened here.
But here's what happened, and that people don't realize is there is a difference between an armbar and a wrestling cross arm breaker.
Yeah.
A cross arm breaker, the joint is still here, and even if you pull it, it's going to extend the right way, and you're not going to lose it. And an arm bar, there's actually a twist to the arm where you're trying to come across the elbow, which then makes the shoulder lock up more, which is either going to pop the elbow or pop the shoulder. That is exactly what Sexy Star did. And people said, well, it doesn't look that extreme. She's not in it for very long. It doesn't look like Ronda Rousey doing it. But the difference is when Sexy Star leans back with it and turns her arm and then comes back and puts the leg up over the shoulder, Rosemary then has no control. The entire arm is extended as one solid limb, and one little pop, one direction or the other, and just even that fake shaking on it or whatever could easily injure your opponent, which is why you don't do real arm bars, and you do instead a cross arm breaker.
Right, right. And I've seen people get their, I know people who've broken people's shoulders with this arm bar. I know people that have popped arms and fucked people up pretty bad with this stuff. And they all know they did it too, which is the next funny thing. So this goes viral. The whole wrestling industry finds out about it. Sexy Star goes on the show that's kind of like Dancing with the Stars in Mexico. And she's going to tell her side of the story. Which her side of the story is, poor me. Everyone hates me. People online are trying to victimize me. I don't know if the girl was hurt. I was just there doing my job, which is winning a match. So she kayfabed the whole shooting thing and then made herself the victim and then said, I don't know if she was hurt. Okay.
Now,
if you put someone in this arm bar and pop their arm, you can feel it happen. And you don't always hear it if it's quiet and there's not an arena full of people. You can hear it too. It's pretty fucking gross sound. Doesn't sound good. I've been in the presence of this happening. It does not. No.
Well, and the extent of whether or not somebody's hurt does not justify whether or not you're working safe. And the simple fact of the matter is, and as much shit as Sexy Star has taken, all these girls were wrong.
And let me tell you something else though, Justin, which is that makes her even more of a bigger piece of shit, because no one's arguing that she's not a piece of shit except for her, basically.
Well, there's a few people, but
she went and started telling people it was just a work, and so they wouldn't be mad at her. And then that's when Rosemary did her statement saying it's not a fucking work, and the only reason I didn't try to kick the shit out of her after the match is because I didn't want to go to a Mexican prison. And trust me, you don't want to go to a Mexican prison. I learned enough from fucking Gator, the skateboarder. Don't go to Mexican prison.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, and this is where it becomes weird, is that Sexy Star on this side of the border, and it's kind of made a divide here, is pretty much blackballed, because anybody, especially indie promotion that hires her or brings her in at this point is going to take so much heat from the smarks that it's not worth it. She is now devalued. So if it was a work, kudos to AAA for locking up one of their main talents and keeping her off the indies, because she's not going to get jack up here. She's probably not going to get any work in England or Germany anytime soon.
Hey, you guys say this, but
and she's been taken off of shows already, by the way, for people who are still questioning whether or not this was a work. If this was really a work, as soon as she got taken off of shows and money started coming out of her pocket, believe me, even Vampiro would have made a call on her behalf.
Honestly, though, Justin, Yoshihiko's the blow up doll. Yoshiko still gets work. And if you haven't seen the Yoshiko shoot, look it up on YouTube. Look up Act Yasukawa Yoshiko shoot.
I believe Sexy Star will still get work too, and I think even maybe stateside eventually she'll get something if she wants it. But she was already not really getting into this market very well in the first place, and I think this pretty much solidified it.
A couple promotions came out. I think literally I saw two came out and said they're canceling or not booking her. And
she was just starting to pick up more indie dates, and they got canceled already.
And you know what?
And then Wrestle Circus came out and said that they feel bad that they didn't talk about how unprofessional she was when she was there. I mean, they publicly said that. That's pretty bad.
You know what? It's pretty bad, but it's also key to the enabling in the wrestling business, because a lot of people did that. A lot of people in promotions that we like and we talk about on this podcast constantly have done that. And you know what? All those people, this is kind of on you too, because you enabled this to happen by letting her get to where she is.
Well, and that's that. But see, part of the issue is, especially when you're dealing with an indie or even a super indie, it's like, okay, the person came in for one day, and you don't
just don't use them again, right? Like,
you don't want to bury somebody over one day. Maybe they had an off day. Maybe there was some real heat backstage with somebody. Maybe it was just the booking that you thought was going to be good as an indie promoter just wasn't right. It's hard to make a determination that one time, and even if people are talking shit in the locker room, or backstage, that there can be any number of reasons why that happened. Like, hey, maybe the girl didn't put out the night before to a bunch of dickheads in the locker room. Like, you don't know. like all sorts of crazy, fucked up, carny shit happens out there on the road and making towns. So I think that a smart indie promoter isn't going to just crap on a talent's whole career, because that also might get them heat too from other promoters and other performers. Like if she's booked 2 weeks later with some other wrestler who you do like, and then you crap on her, all of a sudden, then that wrestler that you do like may lose her opponent and lose money. There is a ripple effect to it too, where you have to be careful. So there's a reason for those protections. But yes, in certain situations like this, sometimes it takes one big event for then now everybody, like her Lucha Underground colleagues who worked with her for a couple of years and other people and all over the business are now jumping to Rosemary's side, saying how she is a quality individual in the locker room, in the ring. You see what people really think of her, and then you see what people really think of Sexy Star. People who have been afraid to comment on her for a long time, including several Lucha Underground co-stars, are just like, this person is awful. She's always been this person. We never liked her. She shouldn't be around. We're fine with the fans and the promoters blackballing her. Like, I've never seen that quick and overwhelming a response by that big a section of the wrestling community to just say a worker was a complete garbage human being.
Yeah, and I want to say fuck you to all the people that said I didn't like her just because I hated women, because Casey was right. Fucking hashtag Casey was right. And
but they could be right too.
No, they're not. And because there are a lot of women in Lucha Underground that I would have loved to see get her push instead. But I just want to say one of the people that kind of came out and said shit was Road Dogg. And he's pretty fucking high up in WWE right now.
Yeah.
So she's not going there. No. When a guy who's basically one of the heads of creative basically right?
I think he writes SmackDown.
Right. So
More
that guy
and he was basically just like, I don't know who this little girl is, but she'll never work anywhere near me or any promotions I have anything to do with. And his reach is not just WWE too. I mean, he's got some pretty big friends that are promoters in mid-South area, like all around the country.
And Cody Rhodes said that, and he works
he's also from a very large family that works in the business all over the place.
Yeah, dude. And fucking Cody said he'll refuse to work on any shows that she gets booked on. And Cody gets booked on all the shows that are riding Lucha Underground's nuts and just want to use all their people. So
he's a top talent in Super Indies. He's a Super Indie top talent.
He's on every show. Yeah. Every big show now.
Yeah. And she's not going to be. But I believe that AAA will keep using her.
I think they'll end up punishing Shani over this, honestly, because AAA is stupid.
Maybe. They really are 10 to 20 years behind everybody else. And it's like they're still running things an old way. And look, let's be honest. There's a reason why Sexy Star thought she could get away with something like this, because this is not the first time this has happened, people. Like, as much as she was wrong, don't think that there haven't been other times and situations where people who have been equally as wrong and have done even worse things than this have completely gotten away with it. And this is part of the culture in AAA. Like, if you look at some of the stuff that was going on with the Apaches and other women in the business over the past couple of years, you'd be equally shocked and horrified. Yet Fabi's fine right now,
Yeah, but see, Fabi hasn't been doing it since her dad died, and I don't think she'll be fine if she does that shit again. She's done this to Sexy Star. The girls in Japan did it to Fabi. It keeps going, and people keep doing this shit, and it's like, there's not really a place in wrestling for that anymore. We've had so many people speak out on it. We've even had Phantasma doesn't give a fuck. AAA Star very publicly apologized to Rosemary and said that Sexy Star was a piece of shit. So good on him. And Which,
by the way, I think I'm going to end my hate of Cuerno Phasma officially now from that. I super duper appreciated that, and I'm starting to actually like the guy now.
So there you go,
Meatloaf. Fuck you.
There you go. There you go, Meatloaf. Send Justin a big kiss. But
Dude, it was just a stand-up thing, and it's like, look, what better way to break this cycle in the entire business than with Sexy Star? Like,
and you know what sucks is this deflected another douchebag AAA story that's just as big in my opinion. And do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but go ahead.
Okay, so Noah wanted to book Phoenix, and Dorian sent a cease and desist saying that he can't wrestle the shows because he's under MGM contract or some shit. And so basically Dorian was using the MGM name to
but the way the story came out was great, because it came out that Phoenix was trying to do this event, and he was being blocked with the threat of an MGM lawsuit. And that was all anyone heard at first.
Right.
And then MGM, the desk of MGM, probably EB-Dub and his cohorts, released a statement saying that, for the record, no one here in the MGM office is actually issuing this threat. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So this is the closest that the company has come out to actually saying, this isn't fucking us, it's Dorian. Don't lump us in with this asshole.
Now,
that's the closest that we've had.
That being said, though, if Dorian went to MGM Legal and said that, hey, somebody under one of your MGM contracts is doing this, I believe they would pursue it, because MGM Legal and the people at the MGM production arm that are actually making the Lucha Underground show are not necessarily the same people. And the guys in legal take their shit very seriously, and they do have those contracts. Whereas you'll see that, basically EB-Dub in his office they like the workers. So they're going to probably be more lax on trying to tax workers from making money anywhere, especially when they don't have something to promise them or something bigger confirmed.
I don't think Phoenix's contract should have blocked him from working Noah, though.
Depends on their distribution. It 100% depends on distribution.
I mean, it's tricky because they're tied. I mean, Lucha has ties to AAA. Phoenix doesn't have ties to AAA anymore, but then Lucha Underground talents may divert to, or go to CMLL, but then Ricochet still works New Japan. It's weird.
Look, they're trying to make it very obvious that if you are a Lucha Underground talent and you still work for AAA, you are in a better position than any Lucha Underground talent, whether it be a super indie guy or it be, one of the guys who left AAA. If you're a AAA affiliated and Lucha Ground affiliated, you are in the best position. You can do more work. You get more props for stuff. You can use your Lucha license easier. Like, they're making it very obvious that it is easier to go with the flow, to be a part of the product, to do AAA stuff and to do Lucha stuff. And this is of great benefit to some people that we like Kevin Cross, and of great detriment to some of us fans because it works in the favor of some people like Sexy Star. Phantasma, he's in a good spot because of it. Cross is in a good spot because of it. Drago and Aerostar and those guys are doing okay because of it. And they're really trying to put it to Phoenix. And they don't seem to fuck with Pentagon quite as much as Phoenix. Like, really, the way that Ray Phoenix left seems to be of greater irritation to Dorian personally. I feel like he doesn't have the same personal vendetta against Pentagon. It feels like Pentagon left because his brother left. I don't know.
It sucks, man, because I really like Phoenix. He's a good dude. He deserves great things in the wrestling business.
Dude, and we sat there and listened to Dorian and Phoenix suck each other off at that thing. I mean,
you and Byron did, and that's hilarious. And it was right after he fucking left, too.
I mean, right after. Those guys backstage had to be like throwing chops at each other or something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It was so amazing that they sat up there on that stage right next to each other, too. They weren't separated. They put the Spanish-speaking guys together at the end of the platform, and then all they got asked about basically was each other. And they had the nicest things to say, and it was super weird.
Hey, maybe
and you guys can see that, by the way, if you don't know what we're talking about. Just search Lucha Underground Paley Fest on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's not, unfortunately, it's not part of the Amazon deal because they've been getting a lot of Paley Fest stuff on Amazon Prime for free, but it is on Hulu if you guys want to see the panel.
I think they got all the stuff from this year's Paley Fest rounds, and the last 2 years before that all went to Hulu.
Which sucks because you got to watch commercials. But
not if you get a commercial-free account for $2 more a month.
That's fucking bullshit, man.
I haven't done that though.
No, I don't know anyone who's done that. But now we can move on to the stuff in the show that made us happy.
Right, like Kevin Cross winning all the belts.
He won all the belts for somebody.
Oh. Look, Cross, if you're listening, I know Mundo's your boy. And I appreciate the loyalty that you have shown him. And it was really, really nice of you to cut your vacation in Greece short, fly all the way to Mexico on a show you weren't booked on, to have your boys back, to run in, to make the save, to really help him to retain his titles, plural. But at the same time, bro, cash in. Think about yourself.
Dude, he didn't have the briefcase with him. It was lost in the airport luggage.
Maybe that's why.
Possibly because, when you're in Greece, he actually is living on the same island that Mantar lives on. So Mantar might have accidentally sat on the briefcase, and you can't have that shit on TV. You need a TV-ready briefcase. I mean, AAA's already fucked up and put the wrong number on it like 3 times. So you gotta just do what you gotta do. Byron, epitome of professionalism right here.
Why does he ever mute his microphone when he gets up and leaves?
I don't know. We're going to hear him pissing and shitting in 2 minutes.
I just muted it, but...
so,
Jimmy V just posted a picture from that Paley Fest thing already. I guess Jimmy V's listening. Hey, what's up, Jimmy?
Yeah, Jim's in the chat, dude. And you know what? He said #Casey was right. But, dude, I want to personally thank Kevin Cross because last week's show during the chat, a certain person who's a big fan of Phantasma, I'm not going to blow up their shit by mentioning their name. I'm not going to give them any press. Said that Jet Li is better than Bruce Lee. And I want to personally thank Kevin Cross for making that person sad. So sad that he cried himself to sleep last night.
Yeah.
Grimace and Hamburglar's retarded butt baby did not win the title. And
I'll give that the full De Niro laugh.
You know what? Nah, you know what? I can't even call him that. I'm sorry because he said mean things about Sexy Star. So
okay, yeah, so he's on our good side, but at the same time, our certain friend that has this place around a pond or on the other side of it or something should definitely be embarrassed that was his call for a winner. I am happy that Mundo won. I would just be more happy if Cross would now turn on his friend and take the belts, all of them.
Hey, it's all a matter of time, man. Cross does what he wants, Mundo might just fart in the car and piss him off, and then he just kicks his ass and takes the belts. He can do whatever he wants, they could be on the plane. They could go, he could come over to Cross's house in Greece, and Mantar could be over, and then Mundo might not shake Mantar's hand like he's supposed to. If you forget to shake Mantar's hoof, you're like a dick, right? So he would have to teach him a lesson by taking all the belts. It's one of those things, And I mean, I'm just glad to say that I am friends with the man who fucking destroyed 2 people single-handedly to help Mundo win the title.
And let's talk about that other person real quick, because he didn't get a lot of press this year at Triplemania. Tejano.
That's true.
Listen to me, Kevin Gill. Tejano.
And he's awesome.
I do feel like this match was booked to make Phantasma and Tejano look just absolutely stupid, because after all this happened, they started fighting each other and just hitting each other with chairs repeatedly. I know it was to set something up, but it's like, dude, join forces. You just had 2. Well, actually, you had 3 guys basically beat you. It was actually even, okay, because they were both working against Mundo actively. Bronce came in and tried to help them. So, Mundo had Cross. He had a guy that I've hit really hard with a belt once come and help him too. Someone that may or may not have the genitals of a young person. And
baby nuts.
Baby nuts.
Dude, Dude, I like Hernandez. I just
and he was great on this show in general. Like I liked how they used him. Kudos to him for keeping things intact at one of the few places where he works.
I wanted to see him hit Big Mommy with the border toss. I think we all did, but it just didn't happen. Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. That would have been. I would have paid to see the free pay-per-view if he would have given Big Mommy the border toss. I should have tweeted him like, "Give Big Mommy the border toss." And he would have said, "Fuck you! You hit me with a belt." But no, dude. This was a fun ladder match, though. Like it was just fucking chaos, bell to bell. What sucks is like the second Cross comes out is like the second Floyd and Conor started fighting.
Well, this is the other thing I was gonna say is so this whole time, like one of the main reasons why I was so pumped for Triplemania was to see what Cross was gonna do. And then I did not watch this match live. I went back and watched it on the replay in the middle of the night. And it was the only match the whole night that I didn't see because it was pretty much the entire exact duration of the Conor Floyd fight was this match.
Yeah, because I mean they got a little piece of the entrances in the Pagano Macias match, which if you can't say anything nice, I'm not talking about the match at all. And but shit, dude, no, that match, Rey Scorpion came in and did a run in afterwards and beat up both dudes. Okay, guys, Rey Scorpion. What the fuck is this music?
It's not music. It's like a loud New York noise.
Okay, so Rey Scorpion from yeah, I think you've seen him a lot of places in the indies in Mexico. He is fucking dope, and if they use him right, he's gonna be a huge star for AAA. He's fucking awesome, and they're off to a good start having him beat up two badass motherfuckers like Pagano and Macias. So
yeah, Pagano and Macias, like I like a good old fashioned street ball. Come on, really? Do I have to hear your nose hairs, Byron? I like a good old fashioned street ball. Not the best match ever, but that's a great program. I want to see that go somewhere, and just we'll see. One of the problems though is Johnny is holding up all the freaking belts right now, and I think Vampiro is taking it upon himself to do something about that, as we saw post match here.
What are these belts again? There's how would they equate to what?
The cruiser belt, the mega champ belt, and what's the other one, Case?
Yeah,
fuck the Latin American title.
It's basically like their IC title.
Okay.
So he's got them all unified still, but I mean that's a little bit of part of what the problem with this show was. Here you have a show where all three of the main belts are basically top mid card. They're not even the headliner, which is fine because you have an Oasis match at the top. But they gotta break up these belts at some point in time. As much as I like where they are myself, like guys like Pagano and Macias, you know, not having something to fight over, and some of the other guys in the lower end that could probably use a bump, and instead you get these crazy, you know, battle royal lumberjack matches and stuff where they're just trying to find places to use talents. Like they don't even have that much talent right now, but then they can't even find good places to use them because all the belts are tied up. So my question, and I'll give you my opinion on it in a second, but Casey, I'm sure you have a strong opinion about this. What do you think about Vampiro booking himself into the title picture at this point with Mundo, Cross, and whoever else gets involved?
Honestly, I hated it, and I didn't even want to talk about it, and you're making me think about it again. And I you know what's great is I had the whole thing muted, so I just didn't pay attention to it, and I hated it a little less because I was watching the fucking fight at that point because I did not give a fuck.
Okay, so I'll funny.
Go ahead.
I was going back and forth, like watching TV and iPad, and yeah, Meatloaf just brought it up where I glanced back on the Twitch and I
close up to him going Vampiro.
He's starting his Vampiro chants. I'm like, oh shit, this is what's happening. The next thing you know, he's choke slamming the champ, and then he's standing 5 feet away from Cross, who's a tall guy. He could literally like reach out and like grab Vampiro's head and squash it like a grape. But he has to just stand there and act like he's mad and not do anything, while Vampiro just completely no-sells him to his face and looks tough. It's like, okay, this is Vampiro I've heard about. But but then again, he's also one of the most over guys on the show. So,
he is over. It doesn't mean he has to win the belt if he wrestles for it or whatever, if that even fucking happens.
But then doesn't that give you a chance for Cross to take it and for Mundo to finally move on? Because they're obviously not going to keep Mundo that much longer in this kind of role. Like, he's done his part, he's done his job.
Honestly, Justin, I'm gonna reveal the whole path to you, okay, right now? What's really gonna happen and if we want it or not.
I know it. It's from both of us.
Mundo's going to fucking defend the title, and then Cross is going to keep killing people, and he's going to be using that briefcase as like an insurance policy. So if anyone wins the belt, they're like double fucked, right? So Vampiro's going to find a way to fuck Cross out of the briefcase, and Bronte's going to win it. He's going to cash it in and win the belt. And right before Cross will use it and win the fucking belt, he'll fuck him out of it somehow, and then Bronte's going to win the belt because that's who they've been wanting to go with this whole time. And I mean, he's good, but I'd rather see.
He's too small. You really think they're going to go with him?
Dude, Rey Mysterio's small. I don't care about small. It's all good. They want
but even in AAA, you think he's going to get to the top of the program that fast?
Yeah, I do, because they want him to be the next Rey Mysterio. But he might be a little fucked up right now, so that might not happen. But that's where I thought it was going to go, but he looked like his knee got a little tweaked in this. Yeah. So who knows?
I really want to see Kevin Cross in Vampiro program. I think that could be kind of cool.
Here's the thing. Here's what I like about it and what I don't like. I like Vampiro interjecting himself at this point. I think with the heat with their work, regardless of what you think, their work that they did with the Taya dropping the belt thing, I think it's appropriate. I think now's the time to do it. And I like seeing Vampiro get into one big angle every couple years. Like we had the Pentagon thing a few years back. Now it's time for another big one. And if you're going to book yourself, why not book yourself with a top guy like Pentagon or Johnny Mundo? Like, let's not be stupid. Yeah. And as much as I love Cross, I think that what you would get work-wise from Mundo in that match would be like if it was a brawl between Cross and Vampiro with their size and the type of wrestling that they do, it's just going to purely be a street brawl. Whereas I think if it's with Mundo, I think you add a little bit of that cruiserweight kind of element also into a brawl, and I think you get something just a little more exciting. Though, and that's my problem with it is like, okay, so you do that brawl, but then if you think back to the Pentagon Vampiro thing, how do you book that brawl in Mexico, especially where Vamp is way, way more over? How do you book that brawl to get Vamp out of the storyline afterwards when he's the head booker and he's more over as a face down there? That's really tough. And then if it becomes this extended program where you have either Tejano or Phantasma jumping back into it and you're taking sides, and then you have Cross and Vampiro, and it becomes this extended thing, that's where I have a problem with it. I'm still a huge Vampiro mark, so I would love to see him in a program, but I just want to see that. I want the high spots. I want the highlights at this point in his career. I don't want to see an extended program with Vamp. I want him to get in, get out, and that's it.
I don't think that's what you're going to get. I think you're going to get. I think you're going to get half a program, and it's going to get aborted somehow. So you don't really have to worry about it. But hey,
it can be good too. That's the other thing you can always count on with AAA is that like if they're ready to dump a program, they just dump it. They don't find a way out of it. It's just gone.
I think they're building towards the Tejano Phantasma Apuestas match anyway. So you know, it is what it is. But I think that this only leaves us with one more match to talk about on the card.
It really does, and it's freaking phenomenal. Speaking of matches.
Okay, first let's talk about some financial shit, okay?
God, please let's.
Okay, so Cubs fan Lucha Blog reported the numbers. I think Meltzer did too. Wagner made $250,000 to lose his mask.
Yes, and Psycho Clown got 200 pesos in bus fare.
Psycho Clown said he would have lost his mask for 30 grand. So some people are like, he paid way too much money. Psycho would have lost his mask for 30 grand. But Wagner losing his mask is a huge fucking deal. And I just hope they did. Okay, so I heard this story.
But how much did Psycho actually make? It was like $4 grand, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
He wasn't dropping anything, you know? But, okay, this is where you make more money in a mask match, because one of the guys on Death Valley Driver told a story that when La Parka and Pierroth had their mask match, and this is original Parka, the good one, LA Park. They had a bunch of the boys go out and make side bets without their masks on throughout town. People didn't know they were wrestlers. And they ended up making like another 15 grand just on like fucking side bets that the boys cut them in on. And that's amazing. And I hope they're smart enough to do that, because that actually happened apparently. And it's pretty cool. This match was great. It's
funny too, because I really thought that I knew that Pagano or Psycho Clown would gladly lose his mask for cheaper. It's part of one of the reasons why, even when it was announced by a certain dipshit promoter that Wagner was going to be appearing sans mask right after Triplemania, that I was still like, no, there's no way that the Roldons are going to pay him what he wants. Like, Wagner's been going back and forth with people with this for years. He's been offering up his mask for 5 years straight now, but for astronomical money, and no one has ever even dared to pay it before. And AAA nutted up and decided to pay it this time. If he ever sees the check, we'll see.
Hey, shit, man.
But I really do think it's going to go down this way.
You know how much 250 grand lasts in fucking Mexico, man?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Especially when you're the world's most interesting man.
Yeah, I know. See, I told you he looked like the fucking Dos Equis guy, and I've only seen half his face before this.
He's gonna use it all on beard wax.
Dude, they're gonna fucking bring him in as like Son of Havoc's dad now, and not as Dr. Wagner. Watch.
Well, look, he should have a great telenovela run now, right? I mean, he's a handsome older gentleman, right?
Yeah. Hey,
very
man.
Distinguished looking.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna get laid more from this, but a lot of people, like Vinny said on Twitter, are gonna get laid less, because a lot of women in Mexico found out that the guy that they're dating isn't really Dr. Wagner Jr. That shit's hilarious. Props to Vinny for that one. Fuck.
But this was the thing where it was done right. Like, there's a tradition in Lucha Libre and in AAA, and this was actually done right. First of all, the match was great. Psycho Clown getting his mask pretty much torn off halfway through really made you think that was the finish they were going to for a little while. And you realized even more that because of that, it wasn't the finish they were going to. The whole thing was well done. The unmasking was traditional style. He took his mask off. He said his real name, Juan Manuel Gonzalez Barón or whatever. And, tried to cover up and shame a little bit. The other guys gloat a little bit, but congratulate him a little. Like, this was so perfectly done. One of the few moments where AAA, minus commentary, has completely executed something the exact right way. And honestly, watching Wagner these last few years, I have to give him a lot of the credit for it, and Psycho Clown too. But Wagner has taken his career to exactly where it should be at this point in time. The dude is 52 freaking years old, and he wrestles like he's 27. And I'm not.
No, and the thing is, he wasn't wrestling like that for a while. This last few years has like lit a fire under his ass, because he was dogging it for a while.
And he came back bigger and better and stronger. And it's like, we were talking about Alberto Patron earlier. It's like, that's what you want from Alberto at this point in time. But where you've gotten it was Wagner. He deserved this big payday. He deserves a glorious ride out into the sunset now without the mask. I hope a lot of people book him, because it's going to be even cooler to see his old ass with that gray freaking beard whooping up on some young boys on the freaking indies. Like they're super green, and showing them what it's all about, because his performances in Lucha Underground and AAA in the past 2 years have been phenomenal.
And he'll get fucking dope color with his white ass hair and shit too. But like people in the chat are saying, he's going by Ray Wagner now because his son, Dr. Wagner Jr. Is gonna be
son of the junior.
He's his revenge now, which is that promo he cut after the fight, which was fucking awesome, where he's like, you know what, my son's coming for you now, motherfucker, and he's gonna rip off your stupid clown face,
which is awesome. And I can't wait to see it. And then maybe that 30 grand to take Psycho's mask will happen too, because I honestly think Psycho should get out of the mask. We need less fucking clowns. And he's been at the top of the game for a long time, and I just don't know I don't know that Psycho's mask brings him much more for the next few years.
Honestly, when there's literally 10 clowns, have you ever seen any other wrestling promotion have 10 of the same anything, unless it's like 10 shitty guys in shorts and kick pads? Which doesn't count. No, but that wasn't like a gimmick. Like you still had like different shit inside the stable. Like you know, you had Big Boss Man and you had fucking $1 Million Man. They weren't the same gimmick, you know. But fucking you don't have 10 Undertakers running around, you know. Like, and also they're 10 clowns, 10 unaffiliated clowns. Like they're not all friends.
Right.
Some of the clowns are feuding with the other clowns. Some of the clowns are feuding with people that have nothing to do with the other clowns. Some of the clowns are just mini versions of the same clowns, and the mini versions are friends while the big clowns hate each other. It's a whole lot of shit going on with clowns.
Bunch of fucking clowns.
Yeah, and you know, Pagano says you can't have a party without clowns, and yeah, it's going to be a really big fucking movie, so maybe they are on the right track. I don't know. Anyway, I as bizarre as this sounds, I think Triplemania 25 was a success. It was certainly more interesting than last year's Triplemania that we kind of shat upon. And it was fun to watch. The Twitch thing, I think, was a success, minus the commentary. I liked the best of stream. Casey and I had a whole bunch of fun watching some old. Yeah.
That was so cool. That's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
It's a good way to turn people onto the product, too. It's like there's a reason why when Lucha Underground came out, guys like us jumped on it because I had seen a little bit of AAA. I knew some of the performers. I was a fan of Drago's. You know, I cannot claim to have been a Pentagon fan before Lucha Underground. It was really his first match when he came in, but I knew who Drago and Aerostar were. I knew Blue Demon was. I knew who Tejano was. And I had seen some of their stuff in AAA, but this is a great way to get people on board. I hope Twitch keeps doing stuff with AAA. I hope they get it ironed out. I'd love to see KG get another shot on commentary because I'd like to, for my own entertainment, see what happens.
Honestly, if he does, I'm immediately watching the Spanish language feed and not even giving him a chance at this point.
Oh, come on. Just even for the jokes?
No, you know what? Everyone tweets that shit at me anyway, so it's like, I'll see him. Trust me, a lot of people tweeted that shit at me. I'm sorry. I said it. You know what? Casey is right about other things. And I'm also, you know what? Casey's right. I'm going to predict Deadpool-like numbers for it, okay? How about that? How about fucking...
The trailer's hot, man. The trailer is hot.
Yeah. How about this is going to do, like, new records for R-rated movies?
You think so? Like, what did Abigail do? Because...
It didn't do that great, but it didn't cost that much, so it was okay.
But it got great reviews. So I just wonder, like, I mean, look, it's a better time of year for it. People are getting in the Halloween spirit, but it was a little bit early.
And I'm not gonna shit on you calling it Abigail instead of Annabelle because King Diamond.
We all know what we're talking about. I
were in control of her brain, Abigail.
The thing is, Annabelle ripped off this horror movie that I edited. Just look up the trailer, Paranormal Adoption. It's about a couple that adopts this girl who has a haunted doll.
Well, I mean, look, the haunted doll...
That was the first movie that's ever done a haunted doll.
The haunted... look, there's not always original ideas in horror movies. Like, It's Alive and Basket Case certainly have resemblances, but Basket Case 2 is a phenomenal work of art.
Oh, shit. They all are. All the Basket Case movies.
Byron looks a little Bilaless.
Yeah. A disturbing...
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Byron, you'd like the first one. There is a disturbing amount of penis in it.
That's the only reason why I like 2 better.
Yeah.
All right, Byron.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm right here.
MMA time. Yeah.
Byron, we're going to talk, and Casey's going to hate me for this because before we get to MMA, I want to talk Mae Young.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, first thing.
Yeah, dude, was her son in attendance? The fucking hand?
I want to give a quick shout out to Charlie Caruso, who is doing commentary on the not commentary. What is it? What's the stuff in between where you stand in front of a really bad green screen?
Interviews?
No, she does interviews too.
You think she's hot, is what you're trying to say? You can just say Charlie.
No. I'm in a writing class with her. She's cool. So I'm giving a shout out. It's awesome. It's cool because it's just funny to see.
You can also be in a writing class with her and still say that she's hot. I think that's allowed.
I'm a progressive. I'm a progressive feminist.
There's
man.
nothing that you can say that will be worse than most of what JR said.
I would never say a compliment.
Oh, Justin, breaking news. Holy shit. We need to talk about MMA instead.
Oh, no. Hey, first of all, I sent that to both of you.
Yeah, but I'm the only one who fucking read it. Okay, I'm the only one who read it.
So, the tournament was
someone
really
pissed
cool.
in his piss, Justin.
I'm sorry because I'm on the MMM show account and Byron sent it to the host of the MMM show and not the MMM show account.
The tournament was really great. I knew a couple, and then I remembered a few other competitors with their new NXT names. I thought it was awesome. I think though that it's interesting that, like the Cruiserweight tournament, each match is not produced as a whole program. So you have multiple people using the same finish, or you have some people using a spear as a regular move, even though it finished 2 other matches.
Yeah, but I liked that. It's like, especially in the opening round, like just let everyone come in and do their thing, and then we'll refine it into a WWE product later.
Yeah, but I thought it was awesome. It's great to see Candice LeRae, especially see her because I saw her at the Battle Royal that they did, and she didn't win it. But she won and she looked great. Like she got the respect in that match. Awesome finish, top rope, swinging neck breaker. And
okay, well, let me tell you where I think they missed. Jazzy Gabber, this big, huge German woman, got a great reaction from the audience, and I don't think putting Abby Lath over her was a good call. I think that was a mistake. And I think this goes to show you how uninvolved Vince is with the product, because most of the big girls throughout this whole thing, some of whom were very, very good, and they could use another big, strong woman. They need some girls like this.
Yeah,
seriously. And Jazzy Gabbard, I hope she still gets a contract because she was super duper over. I'm not going to say her wrestling was great, but it doesn't matter.
She was over.
I'm not watching it for great wrestling half the time. You're watching it for characters, storylines, and for people that have potential to do.
And plus, dude, isn't she like Chono's stepdaughter in real life?
Yeah.
So dude, Chono's the shit. Awesome. I fucking love Masahiro. Who doesn't like Chono? If you don't like Chono and you're in our chat, get the fuck out of there.
Well, look, being related to or tied to being a second generation star of some kind did not necessarily help you in this tournament.
But I mean, it was a surprise. I thought she was going to win. I also was a little nervous about how quickly, even though she was portrayed as like a big, imposing heel, how quickly the Florida crowd took to cheering the superhuman German person.
I thought that was good, though. I mean, it just goes to show you that look and what she was presenting is part of what they need. Even though I know it's a smart crowd, I went to Full Sail. I get it. But anyway, we can talk about some of the other ones. I just think that I hope to see them do something with Jazzy Gabbert, because that was probably one of the biggest upsets in the first round.
Yeah.
Kaylee Ray going out in the first round, I also found surprising. Not that she's great, but I thought that she would be a good base for some of the other talent moving forward. Candice LeRae was no surprise. Mia Yim is freaking amazing.
I really wanted Sarah Logan to win, though. I've seen her in a bunch of NXT shows coming up, and it seems like she's getting a whole gimmick together. Her pre-match like package, she was the best on camera in her interview.
But that's also why they don't need to do it. I mean, she's already assigned talent. She's already got the spot. They don't need to put her over. They'll put her over on TV later. I mean, she's already there, basically.
This is Crazy Mary, right?
It's Crazy Mary. She's also her boyfriend is one of War Machine. So basically,
that's a step up from fucking Madman Pondo. So there you go.
Now the Shayna Baszler match. First of all, you have Ronda Rousey there.
Yeah.
This style, like I wanted to put together a show where you almost mimic MMA rules, except you do it, a scripted wrestling style.
Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe.
Almost exactly what Shayna Baszler presented in this match. So I freaking loved it. I mean, she was basically, she has, with Josh Barnett's help, has crafted an MMA style, even more so than Matt Riddle, an MMA style into a wrestling style, where she was actually the whole match portraying herself like an MMA fighter, doing MMA moves, even down to the striking and throwing punches and whatnot, which obviously if they were in an MMA fight, they would have knocked somebody clean out. But I mean, the entire presentation, even the transitions and moves on the ground, all MMA presentation, except all done very safe. I've seen Shayna wrestle a few times before, but I thought that this was on another level.
Let me tell you how important this Josh Barnett thing is to that, because Barnett was taught by Karl Gotch a little bit when he was in New Japan. And if you guys don't know who Karl Gotch is, he's the fucking god of pro wrestling. Look it up. And well, the god of Japanese pro wrestling, next to Akito-san. But he had a deal with New Japan. They actually paid him from when New Japan started until he died to help develop talent. And it's kind of cool because they even did an interview where they had Josh Barnett. What was his big fight? Was it against one of the Nogs, or that in Pride? That Josh Barnett had? Yeah. They had him watch that with Gotch. And Gotch is like, this match is fucking bullshit. You should have done this, this, and this. And he's like, you barely won. How does this make you feel good? And he's like, does it make you mad that I'm saying that? And he's like, no. We talked to each other weekly by phone until Gotch's death. And this is a guy that if you wanna mix legitimacy with show business, that's the kind of guy you want dealing with. And Barnett being a student of his and then passing that shit along, it's gonna lead to amazing shit.
And Shayna, as an MMA fighter, I always loved her. She was very entertaining, but she was middling at best. She wasn't the greatest fighter of all time, nor was she ever going to be. And I'm so happy to see her be the person that actually gets to bring this in. And we're not talking about like the Kim Shamrock style here either. This is the next level of where it should be to progress. To progress wrestling, actually, to give wrestling some more legitimacy. I know CM Punk tried to do some of this stuff, but he did, and it worked for a little bit. He got way over by presenting a certain amount of MMA style, but he was still really also at best a middling wrestler.
Yeah, and plus it was MMA style and then just stealing all of Kenta's shit. So it's like...
But Shayna being able to go in there and do this with girls who also don't necessarily know how to do it, but working them through the matches where she's doing a completely different style than everyone else, that's going to be the real test of if she can get this style over and if it really works, because she's going to come up against a lot of girls that have no clue what the hell she's doing, and they're going to have to sell it and make it work, and it's going to be on her to get them to sell it right.
Hey, it got Minoru Suzuki so fucking over doing the same thing. And she's doing what he did, like like literally. And God, I fucking love his fan.
Let's talk about Suzuki real quick.
He's fucking amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When I need a little pick me up, I'll listen to his entrance music like 10 times in a row, and I'm back better than I was before. Anyways, I loved Shayna's finish. It's incredible because it's a submission, it's a choke. Then
you don't know what you're watching at first. You're kind of like,
but it's super high impact, and and what's really great is that it's a boom, and then you got to tap right away. Like it's awesome. It's hard to do a sleeper or a chokehold nowadays and have it kind of be that interesting. Like Joe can do it.
When it looks like that, but I mean, the risk you run is, don't forget that even in MMA, the grappling part of it is the least exciting part to people. So it's going to remain to be seen. Like, it's good that she's putting in a lot of the striking part of it too, but it's also not as flashy as leg slap kicks and stuff, So I think she needs to hybridize it a little bit. And I think if she ends up on one of the big shows, Vince will certainly insist on it at some point. Like, she's she's not on Vince's radar yet, I don't think. So we'll see how it plays out. And maybe because she's brought Ronda and the other four horsewomen of MMA, the four horsewomen of MMA with her, they were in the crowd. Jessamine, Marina Shafir, and Ronda Rousey were in the crowd, which certainly will help her along. I hope people realize in the wrestling world that Ronda is in fact a heel. Shayna will also be a heel, and they're kind of heels in real life. You can admire them for their style and their mean aggressiveness, but they're not nice people. And congratulations to Ronda, because I believe her and Travis got married.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
But
hey, look, even assholes.
There's two ways she could go. She can go Ken Shamrock and Brock Lesnar, where you get the pro wrestling stuff in there and it's awesome, or you can go Dan Severn, and you don't go full Dan Severn.
No one goes the full Dan Severn. Well, that's boring wrestling too. I mean, he just wanted to hold people down, and like Dan Severn thinks you can go into pro wrestling and get riding points. Not a good look.
Man, but you know what? If you want to see a good Dan Severn match, watch him against Tarzan Goto from the King of the Deathmatch tournament, the one that Cactus and Terry were in the finals.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Dude, it's a great match because Tarzan Goto doesn't know how to fucking wrestle, so he's just headbutting him all the time and shit. It's great.
It's good stuff. Okay, so Toni Storm, I also absolutely loved her whole presentation. I also liked Lacey Evans's presentation.
I've been watching Lacey Evans for a while, NXT. She's a homegrown one. Toni Storm I saw in Stardom. I know that she's been putting her name out there, but I never really saw her full presentation.
No, she can go strong style too, or she can do silly stuff. She's kind of in the Joey Ryan category to me, but I totally dig her.
The Lacey Evans, so she has a cool story. She's a Marine, and she has a kid that I think they're going to use as part of her character. She brings her daughter with her to all of her.
Yeah, she was there. And that part of it, I was kind of like, but I like I like the super babyface route that they're going with her until they heel turn her and turn her into.
Dude, they have her kid beat the shit out of the stupid Bailey kid.
The thing is, the reason you can tell if you look at this woman closely enough, I'm pretty sure she's actually killed someone before as a Marine. She was also a drill sergeant. And I think that once, if they give her a 3-year run as a babyface and then turn her heel, I think she'll be so over.
Female Sergeant Slaughter, bro. Yeah. Oh shit, that would be. She could do the noogie and shit.
I will say though, it was a little weird to see so many, so many of the same person, like so many blonde white wrestlers.
Were there more blonde white wrestlers the same height than there were clowns in Triple A?
Yeah, and like 2 of them were from Australia, and I was getting them confused for a while. And no, it was a little strange, but at the same time, look, it's a 32-person tournament. They're going to weed it down. And again, this part of it seems like it was completely under Triple A's banner or Triple H's banner, and that Vince hasn't had anything to do with it yet.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised to see Santana Garrett lose. Though I guess it kind of makes sense because she has so much work other places. And maybe she was really just brought in to help put over the credibility of the tournament in general with no intention of going further with her. But I don't know where she stands after this whole thing. I haven't read anything about where she's at with them. But I was surprised. I thought for sure she's being one of the biggest names out there to come in and that she would get over.
We got to get through this podcast. I got to find this shit. Look at these fucking Pop-Tarts, guys.
She put over Viper, right? Is that the match?
Yeah. Piper Niven.
Piper. Yeah, she's Viper over in Stardom. That's where I saw her. I mean, yeah, I guess they see a lot of money in Piper and they want to, and why not get someone like Santana Garrett to help make her look good in the first round?
Yeah, and Piper was great. And I thought that, she's not a look that you would normally think would get over in WWE either. Yeah. But I like that about her, and hopefully they go with something unconventional like that and at least give her an NXT push at some point. We'll see.
Well, you compare her to like Nia Jax as like a female powerhouse, because a lot of the wrestlers in that division are very small statured, and Piper I think already carries herself better than how Nia Jax even currently carries herself.
Now, was Rhea Ripley the other blonde Australian that looked exactly like Toni Storm?
It's hard. It just they kept showing up, but they were all good.
So and those matches or whatever, we'll see how they shake out. But there's a couple other big girls in there that did not fare well, which I thought was surprising and strange. And then let's talk about the finale, the Kairi Sane versus Kare Hojo, whatever you want to call her.
Kari Sane.
Versus
Well, if you're JR, it's Carrie Sane, and if
Carrie Sane versus Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
Why did they put these two up against each other in the first round? Is my first question. Like, don't you think Tessa has done enough to garner a second round berth in this thing?
Well,
maybe Tessa doesn't want to sign a contract.
You know how her dad left the company? Maybe there's still a little heat there.
Well, maybe. She's sort of been like a guest star on NXT every so often. And there's the reports that
and by guest star you mean job duty.
Yeah, but like she's a name that'll show up in the women's division every so often. And apparently Ricochet is signing up. Maybe there's something going on, or maybe they just, I don't know. I mean, you definitely want to showcase Kari Sane as quickly and as big as possible. I don't know the spoilers, by the way. I hope she wins. I hope Candice wins. I also hope Evie wins.
You must have been the only one not listening when Justin spoiled the whole thing on our podcast.
No, we already covered that. We already covered that in the DM.
But we also don't know how every bit of it shakes out. I didn't know that Kari went over on Tessa in the first round. I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah, you kind of
wonder. You gotta wonder if Ricochet is second guessing how he might fare in WWE when things like that are already happening.
Oh well, maybe you shouldn't cry so much. You know what's funny though? As long ago as this was taped, Lucha Underground still way longer.
But dude, he'll be out of his contract soon, right? As soon as they're done running Ultima Lucha Trace as a Christmas special. Then he'll have 3 months to wait after that, and he can by Easter be somewhere else, right?
Yeah, Ultima Lucha Trace, Christmas 2018. Yeah.
No, actually, I think we'll see him show up in WWE probably January or February at this point in time, right?
No. I don't think he's gonna make it that far.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be NXT.
Well, you know what I mean.
Oh, I thought you talked about you think it might be dead by then.
No,
God, no.
Easy.
No, I wasn't saying like he was going to get a Royal Rumble run-in, like entrant number 30, Prince King Trevor Man. That wasn't going to happen.
You heard it here on the MMM show. Casey is predicting that Ricochet will not be alive by January.
All right, so that's it for WWE talk. Let's move on.
Thank God. MMA.
Byron did send us some news. Before we get to your news, and we have breaking news.
With a Z. It's extreme.
I want to talk a little bit about the Conor Floyd aftermath. This was a phenomenal week for combat sports. And I find this event to be a huge success. Why it was a huge success, however, is now the point of contention, I think, amongst a lot of people. Here's what I saw happen. You had this great lead up, this great promotional build up, this super hype to the point where it was good that it was so overhyped because everyone said going into it, the fight can't possibly live up to the hype. It got to the point where the Conor believers, and I have belief in Conor, I just didn't predict that he would win. But it got to the point where the Conor believers were actually giving him a chance. And I feel like he was actually giving himself a chance to a certain extent, which really, I think, is what sold the fight at the end of the day, because there was nobody who was watching that buildup who was looking at Conor and saying, this guy's just talking a game. Everyone was to the point where whether they thought he was going to win or not, everyone thought that Conor thought that he could win. And that's what really gave the fight credibility. Not necessarily that he could or was going to win, but the fact that everyone was like, damn it, that dude actually believes he can knock out Floyd Mayweather, that he can win this fight, that he can do it in glorious fashion. And he's not, somehow he's talking all this crap, but he's not just talking out of his ass. So that's what you had before the fight. You get to the actual fight, and you had some weird things happen. There's some couple strange things with the prelims. Conor on the scale he looked sucked out. And he got down to 153 pounds. Looking at the way Conor looked on the scale, I'm going to make one prediction coming out of this fight. You are never, ever, ever, ever going to see Conor fight at the 145 weight class in UFC ever again. He just made a whole bunch of money. It didn't look like it was a painful cut for him, but it looked like it was hard enough for him to get down under 155. And God bless him, he got 2 pounds under it, which I think is awesome. I think that was a good statement and a good showing for him there. Floyd, however, was eating McDonald's and partying all week and eating pizza and hanging out at his strip club.
He kept tagging his strip club in his tweets, like 50-0 at his strip club. That's a champion.
The girl collection, by the way, because that's not a sexist thing to do, to collect women.
Well, this is a guy who beats women. So
he's a great person.
But the standard a little bit lower.
He's probably lining them up to punch them. That's why he's collecting them.
Oh my God. Well, now you know why it's okay for him to go to the club every week, because he still gets his practice in while he's there.
Oh, I'm not saying
his strippers are sparring partners. I'm just saying that he beats them.
Yeah,
they don't fight back. Let's be clear about that.
Okay, it's not sparring at all. It's just target practice. This is horrible where we've gone here.
God, why does the show go so dark all of a sudden?
Because
we're in hour 5.
I know, because first of all, Floyd Mayweather is a despicable human being. And it sucks so bad to pick a guy like that to win a fight, because one of the reasons why he's so popular is because you want to see somebody murder his face. But he's really, really good at what he does. My prediction was semi-accurate for this fight. I said that it would be unanswered punches that stopped the fight, not something a lot of people were predicting. I said it was going to come in round 6. It came a few rounds later than that, but the actual ending to the fight went exactly the way I expected. What Floyd did at the beginning of the fight, I also completely expected. I believe that was actually his game plan. What I didn't know, and what I don't think anybody accounted for, including Floyd, regardless of what he says, is what Conor was going to do with that information of what Floyd was doing. We knew Floyd wasn't going to do much the first few rounds. We knew he was going to try to gas Conor out. We knew he was going to just kind of play possum a little bit. What we didn't know is that during that time that Conor would actually connect with real boxing technique, would jab Floyd to the face. I never expected to see Conor hit a single jab that landed on Floyd Mayweather. Not one. He hit him with jabs. He hit him with a left cross. He hit him with an uppercut. He actually connected to Floyd with several very credible boxing strikes, which is awesome. And it made it very entertaining. People were getting excited around me when I was watching it. I still didn't think Conor had a chance. A lot of people were thinking, I think, that Conor was doing better than he thought. But that being said, fuck those judges. That I was not cheering for Conor to win. I was realistically scoring and judging that fight. I gave Conor all 5 of the first 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I had that card 5-4 for Conor when Conor went out on his feet.
I also feel like Mayweather was in 100% control the whole time. Excuse me, but
Conor
also
was scoring.
But he let Conor, and Conor did better than you thought, but Conor did legitimately win all those rounds.
Yeah, now, the official, what people are really saying is, yes, Conor won the first 3. A lot of people debate 4 and 5 and say that because of the few shots that Floyd landed in 4, that they were power shots. They were. I believe that they were stronger than Conor's punches, but I believe that Conor did more work in those rounds. Connected, had better ring generalship, which you do score on. I think that he was in better control in the 4th and the 5th, which was 5th was very, very close. But, one judge had all the rounds for Floyd. Like, how do you score the first? What?
I mean, basically, Floyd started punching Conor in the face for 2 rounds and knocked him out.
Yeah,
what happened?
And Conor was gassing because Conor had thrown some big punches, and then he had tried to start getting Floyd out of there in the 5th. And then, you saw Floyd do what Floyd does when he was like, okay. And you saw it. Like, he saw a few of Conor's moves, and once Conor started repeating things, especially the jab, and once Floyd got used to Conor being a lefty and his movement and his weird angles, Floyd solved the puzzle. And it wasn't a very hard puzzle for him to solve. and he was just like, okay, let me get this guy out of here. It's what should have happened. He's 49-0, whether you like him or not. He did his work. What is that sound? Why does it sound like we're in a hurricane?
That's not me.
Is that Casey? It's Casey.
It's Casey.
Casey, you sound like you're in a hurricane.
Me? Oh, my air conditioner just came on.
Oh, that must be what it is.
Turn it off.
Remember the old days when we used to sit in Byron's house, turn the AC off, and sweat it out with each other in person?
I buy you guys pizza, and then you complain about it for 2 years?
That was a terrible idea for a show. This is so much a better idea for a show in general. Fuck that show. That show was horrible.
I liked it. You guys came over to my house.
I know. You felt like you actually had real friends and that we weren't just using you for the pizza and the beer money.
When we brought people over, that was cool, though. We once had, like, Jimmy Five over, right?
Yeah, we had actual guests. We had the big roundtable Lucha versus WWE thing once, and
brought Zach in, then Casey took him into the bathroom for 10 minutes.
But people can listen to the archives. We don't have to go down memory lane. So, people want to know what's next for Conor. So Conor lost, but he lost the right way. It was a good fight. Everybody made a pile of money. They're looking at the numbers still. UFC had some glitches with their website with ordering, but they're still believing that it is going to come in and break the record. I don't know if all the official numbers are in, but I've heard all the way up to, I think Dana said 6.5, which if that is actually true would be amazing. But I think breaking the 4.6 is most likely what happened. Biggest fight ever, biggest payday for athletes ever. Conor stands to make over 100 million. Floyd stands to make over 250 million. Showtime will probably make a couple hundred million. UFC is probably going to make close to 100 million on it. It's a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of money. And considering that UFC pay-per-views are doing like 235,000 compared to 4.6 millions or whatever, it's a big jump, and there's a reason why UFC did that. For promoting one fighter in a fight, they probably made more money than their last 2 or 3 pay-per-views combined. That's not true, though. The Jon Jones DC pay-per-view did really good. And we're going to talk about Jon Jones.
Should we have Jon Jones versus a cup of pee for the next?
We'll get there. Don't jump the gun. Let me talk about where Conor goes from here first, and then we'll talk about Jon Jones.
Justin.
What?
Where do you think Conor goes from here?
Okay, so you know where I think Conor goes from here? There's a lot of talk about this Nate Diaz thing. Nate will have to come down to 155, and there's a huge problem with that fight. Conor is the lightweight champion. Nate Diaz does not deserve a lightweight title shot. So you have a problem. If Conor comes back and takes the money fight, do you strip him again? That ain't going to go over good with the fans. That's not going to make anyone happy. So I think that, honestly, the best case scenario for Conor McGregor is Kevin Lee beats Tony El Kukui Ferguson, which is a very slim chance. And that if that happens, for sure, Conor would fight Kevin Lee. I think that the next best option for him after that is not to fight El Kukui if El Kukui wins, which I believe is most likely what's going to happen. Not to fight Nate, but to actually wait for the Bisping GSP fight and then fight GSP after, regardless of whether GSP wins. If GSP loses, I think it's just a huge money fight that you can make. Everyone will say, oh, GSP went up to a weight class that was too high for him. Bring him back down. Have Conor and GSP fight at 170 pounds. If GSP wins and beats Bisping for the belt, as much as it would fuck over the whole division, GSP is not going to want to fight any of those 185-pound guys. The money fight would be Conor versus GSP for the 185 belt. Mm-hmm. 3 weight classes above where Conor started. And it would be hilarious and amazing, and it would make piles of money.
It would also be so fat. Oh my God.
It would also probably be actually very competitive. Believe it or not, GSP and Conor are around the same size, though GSP obviously carries a lot more muscle and good lean muscle. I think that that's a smart fight. Otherwise, yes, the Nate fight is good, but the Nate fight presents Dana and the UFC with a lot of huge problems, because if you make that for the belt, no one's going to feel the legitimacy of that being a title fight, and you're going to have some other interim champion running around at the same time with a belt, that becomes a huge, huge problem if Conor does not defend that lightweight belt and fights Nate in a trilogy fight. Most likely they just have to strip Conor, because for Conor to save face and say that he's still a champion and have his talking points. But man, having your biggest star walking around without their belt seems stupid too. So as much as a lot of people want to see that Nate Conor 3 fight, you just got to think about what that does to the legitimacy of the whole sport right now. I think that fight is great. But I'd like to see Conor come back, have one fight, and then for St. Patrick's Day, I have a feeling he's going to box Paulie Malignaggi. I think that's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen on St. Patrick's Day. Mark my words, because I believe St. Patrick's Day is a Saturday next year. All right. What's the breaking news, Byron?
The breaking news is apparently Jon Jones blood was clean post-match. So like 24 hours after a dirty piss sample, his blood tested clean.
So you're telling me that the more accurate determining factor for drug use came up clean?
Yeah, and it was post-fight. So
now what do they do?
What if you're putting the steroids directly up your dick hole?
Well, maybe that's a problem.
Yeah, you're just pissing them all out into the drug testing cup. I don't know. From what it's a wrench in the whole story of he's a dirty fighter. You know, there's a lot more questions all of a sudden.
Well, look, a lot of fighters are dirty. Let's just be honest.
Well, yeah.
And the question is,
what's the 4 years? That's what's at stake here.
How is a guy that's this far up in the game not able to piss clean for looks when everyone else can? I mean, that's the real question, right?
So you think
why doesn't he have better doctors is really the question, right?
Like he got taken care of for his blood, but he couldn't clean his pee before he got tested.
I don't know, man. Somebody's somewhere screwed up. Whether it's Jon Jones because he's doing bad things, whether it's the people who help Jon Jones do bad things not doing their job good enough to help him do bad things the right way like everyone else does, whether or not it's actually some kind of conspiracy because somebody's trying to screw over Jon Jones. I mean, DC, he's not above cheating. This is the same motherfucker that leaned on a towel. I don't care about how much he's crying and how much everyone is talking about how DC is some saint and some angel now because he got his face beat in, cried like a bitch on TV, and then, went on to have faced this big cheater. Like, come on, man. You're an Olympic level wrestler. You beat up on Cain Velasquez in the gym so much to the point where you guys are always hurt. Like, that's no excuse. I don't care if Jon Jones is a freaking cyborg. Come on. Either you win or you don't win.
Isn't DC still trying to he still says he's open for a match regardless of the results? I think he was saying something about that. He wants to have another.
No, look, I kid. I'm busting balls. DC is actually a quality stand-up guy for the most part as far as professional athletes go. He's better than probably 90% of them personality-wise and as an actual human being. But he's a cheater too. Leaning on the towel, total cheating. Don't care what he says. That's an old school wrestling move. I've leaned on a towel before. I know it's cheating. So anyway, the moral of the story though is the verdict is now back out again. He was guilty before proven innocent. Now he's innocent before being proven guilty, and basically nothing has been proven, period. Jon Jones may in fact not be a dirty cheat.
Maybe.
Officially. I don't know. Casey, what are you doing with that phallus over there? You don't know? It's not working? All right. Last thing I got to talk about today before we get out of here, and it's a big one. Invicta FC last night. Freaking phenomenal again. They had several fighters fall out, and here's one of the things about Invicta that I find completely amazing is that somehow fighters will fall out, but they will find credible replacements and turn in great fights with short notice replacements. Like other promotions can't seem to pull this off. UFC tries to do it at times, but it seems to be a bit harder for them. And the matchups in Invicta are so even that what you get is just really exciting fights all the time. And it's surprising, like the booking over there, Shannon Knapp and Julie Kedzie and whoever's doing all the booking, it's amazing. Did you guys see any of the Invicta last night?
No, dude.
I feel the same way as you about all of it. Actually,
he did. I was at school, dude. I was learning.
Surprises.
I was learning how to be a school teacher, man. That's all.
Let me give you some of the finer points. First big one, homegirl, Yaya Rincon. She
did well.
She did amazing, and this is really only her second pro fight. If you haven't listened before, I was at her first pro fight, and I sat right next to her mother, and her family. So, you know, you want to talk about added interest into a fight. Sit next to somebody's mom when they're going into their first professional fight and tell me that it doesn't make it a little more exciting. And Yaya took risks, and she was getting damaged a little bit in that fight, and she pulled out the win, and it was amazing. And then the same thing was happening here. Yaya has like this Cowboy Cerrone kind of thing going on where she is a little bit wild, and she goes in and she takes some shots, and she has some risks, but then she turns on the vicious streak like Pride era Vanderlei Silva and just like goes, you know, with aggression and technique, but with like just that pure aggression into the stand-up, and then finally gets guys down and you know, has this ground and pound vicious style on the ground, which is how, you know, she won last night. And man, I thought she was going to beat that girl's poor face in. So I just find I think the whole thing, the whole fight was very interesting. So, and it was exciting. This is why she's going to be hopefully a future champion, because not every fighter this early in their career can be this exciting and still get the job done. You know, a lot of them either just go in and totally dominate because they're way above the other people that are coming in similarly ranked. And she was facing off against another 1-0 girl who's undefeated so far. And it was a good fight. The other big fights, Renata Olivia Sousa, vicious, just beast. She is just the toughest thing ever. And when she walks to the ring, she's just freaking scary. She defeated a fellow Brazilian who came in on kind of short notice, also, I believe, who's undefeated, Janaisa Moringen, who is a tough girl, but Sosa is just mean. She's freaking nasty. That girl is awesome. And then what was surprising is I thought Raquel Palalui was going to win the belt. The 135 belt was open. But Yana Kunitskaya, who is a Jackson Wink protege, whatever, she won the fight. And it was like they came in evenly matched. But this just goes to show you when you've got Winklejohn and Jackson in your corner and you're evenly matched with the person across from you, you're going to win because of the camp. The game plans that those guys come up with are just phenomenal. And that's what it came down to. Raquel got her nose broken a little bit earlier in the fight, and she looked like she had all the same skills necessary to win that fight. But Kunitskaya, I think, just had better coaching. She had better guys in her corner. She knew what the positions were that were going to get her the win, and she grinded it out and got the win. And the last interesting thing about it, which I'm sure if you watch Invicta, you probably heard about the slight malfunction that happened in one of the earlier fights with Elise Anderson and Shino Van Hoos. They got to do something about this. You can talk all you want about the Reebok stuff in UFC, but it feels like UFC has the wardrobe thing figured out for the ladies. And this was a very unfortunate situation for Elise that she completely lost her top at one point in time. I'm sure it's great for Invicta ratings, but not what you want when you're a professional fighter. And then she ended up losing the fight too. Oh. I don't know that moment really took her out of the game so much. She was kind of in some bad positions in the scrambles. I also thought the fight was much closer than the judges had it, and I didn't really know who won the fight. I kind of felt like she had, but I think Invicta has got to seriously take a look at some of their wardrobe policies. I also thought the shorts that Kunitskaya was wearing that had this weird like t-shirt flap on the back that were making grabs and stuff kind of hard. I think that those should have been banned also. Like, I think that Invicta needs to lock it down and go with a standardized format. Still let people have their sponsors, but I think they need to lock down what the allowable attire is for competition. That's it. That's all I got. You guys got anything else this week?
I read one more thing from Ariel Helwani, who is a reporter for MMA Hour and Beat. He did bring up that according to sources, substance that Jones tested positive for in his July 28th urine test usually only shows in urine, and so the one that he passed was blood, and maybe it just doesn't show up on that one.
Fake news Helwani over here. Jesus Christ.
So developing. Stay tuned to hour 7 of this podcast. We'll read more of his tweets.
No, we're freaking done.
We're done. It's lunchtime, bro.
It's
not lunchtime. It's almost 3 o'clock.
It's dinner time for you then. Go eat something. You know what? You ate through the whole podcast, you fat bastard.
I worked out right beforehand. I did like 5 push-ups. Guys, hold on. Here's another one.
A lot of weight.
Did I say congrats to Yaya Rincon yet? Congrats. Good fight.
So,
as hell.
Guys, I texted Josh Pillow and I said we had an hour ago, and I said we had a really good Josh Pillow session today. We cut it really short. We gave you a shout out. You think you'd really like it? And so
he's never going to hear this part of that, though.
I know, but like when I told him that we were done and we cut it short and he should check it out, and he
there's literally
like only halfway through.
There's literally no version of this that he can't start without seeing how long it is. Like every piece of technology that we're available on tells you how long the show is before you start listening to it.
Yeah, but that moment beforehand, before he goes to that part, he's gonna think, "Oh, great, they did it short," and then he's gonna see 5 hours long, and then I got him. He just got MMM showed.
You got MMM.
You got motherfucker. You got
delicious.
Delicious. Your tears are delicious.
All right. For at Lucha Gringo, for at Byron Fever, I am at Justin Harvey 75. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.